Chapter 1355. When Qin Wentian woke up, many pieces of information appeared in his mind, including the words of that old freak. Even though he was unconscious, the voice of that undying freak was still imprinted in his mind. Qin Wentian cursed that undying freak in his heart. Undying scripture, death scripture? What the hell are these? Qin Wentian mumbled in his heart. He suddenly thought of those zombies. Could it be that they could revive the dead? This was impossible, it defied logic. Death was death, it was impossible to revive them. Those zombies were merely walking corpses, they had no thoughts of their own. Soul, that undying freak could actually force my soul out of my body, and even return it to its original location. Qin Wentian thought back to his earlier experience as his back was drenched in cold sweat. Even now he still felt terror in his heart. If the undying freak wanted his life, it would be as easy as flipping his palm. The strength of this undying freak had already surpassed Qin Wentian's comprehension. Given his current cultivation base, even if immortal emperors wanted to kill him, they wouldn't be able to do so silently. They would have to unleash their strength first. Even for peak-stage immortal emperors, they would have to use the laws of the heavens and earth to deal with him. But this undying freak was able to kill with just a single voice. Even if his soul left his body, he could easily destroy it. This was simply too terrifying. If Qin Wentian had to describe this undying freak, he would only be able to say that he was unfathomable. Qin Wentian closed his eyes and calmed his heart to comprehend the undying scripture. Very swiftly, he understood what sort of cultivation art the undying scripture was. It was a soul cultivation art. Although he had never come into contact with a soul cultivation art before, this undying scripture was definitely a supremely terrifying soul cultivation art. There was no one in the world who couldn't die. Regardless of their body or soul, as long as they existed, they could be destroyed. It was just a matter of whether one's strength was sufficient or not. This undying scripture naturally didn't mean that one wouldn't die if they cultivated it. It was just that the terrifying part of the undying scripture was that if one cultivated it to the extreme, even if their body was destroyed, their soul wouldn't be destroyed. In fact, there were many other terrifying effects, such as the ability to reconstruct one's body. Of course, this was not the only use of the undying scripture. It was an extremely perfect soul-type cultivation art. Why do I feel that from the very beginning, I was dragged here by that undying freak as a scheme? Qin Wentian mumbled. If it wasn't for the undying freak's intentional actions, how could he still be alive now? Maybe it's because my talent is outstanding, unparalleled in the heavens and earth, and the old pervert has taken a fancy to my talent. He doesn't want to enter the world and hopes to find an outstanding successor, so he deliberately makes things difficult for me? Qin Wentian shamelessly mused. After which, he felt that the possibility of this happening was extremely high. He involuntarily nodded his head. That must be the case. After all, there are too few people like me with such outstanding talent. That old freak must have never met one before. But luckily that undying freak didn't say that he wanted me to join his power, and didn't accept me as a disciple. Most probably, he knows his own limits and isn't qualified to be my master. This can't be considered breaking the rules of the heavenly talisman realm. After my cultivation base reaches grand completion, I will find him to settle the debt. Qin Wentian continued to shamelessly think. If the old freak knew of his shameless thoughts right now, he wondered if he would directly separate his soul from his body. Lowering his head and staring at the divine weapon on the ground, Qin Wentian felt panic in his heart. His earlier experience was simply too tragic. Right now, he still felt a lingering fear in his heart. Seems like he had to focus on cultivating the undying scripture. If not, the next time he tried to use it, he would definitely suffer a fate worse than death. As he thought of this, Qin Wentian closed his eyes and calmed his heart. He began to cultivate the undying scripture, starting from the most basic point of comprehending the existence of the soul. Because he had never come into contact with soul cultivation before, his starting speed was extremely slow. Before this, he had never truly sensed the existence of the soul, nor did he pay attention to the connection between the soul and the fleshly body. Only when he grabbed the divine weapon earlier did he truly sense the existence of the soul. The soul residing within the fleshly body was extremely weak. If it left the body, it would be easily destroyed. Once the soul was destroyed, the fleshly body would become a dead body. There was no meaning to it. Hence, the soul of a cultivator would always exist alongside the fleshly body, inseparable. Luckily, Qin Wentian had a similar experience in the past. In that case, the first step wasn't too difficult. He used a period of time to sense the existence of the soul, knowing where it was and controlling its existence. Only then would he be able to cultivate his soul. Qin Wentian once again entered a state of oblivion, unaware of the flow of time. Before this, he didn't expect that after he broke through to the immortal king realm, he would continue to cultivate here. After comprehending his law domain, he continued to cultivate his soul. His experiences during this period of time were truly bizarre. Luckily, the old freak already promised him that as long as he could obtain the divine weapon, the old freak would let him leave. This day would eventually come, and at that time, he would be able to leave this forbidden ground. Over 10 years passed by in the blink of an eye. He had no idea what was going on in the outside world. Let's hope that there wasn't a huge commotion. After all, immortal wars between peak powers were a very long process. Before there was an extremely strong provocation, Emperor-ranked battles wouldn't erupt. Back then, the Skymist Alliance felt that victory was already in their grasp and directly suppressed the Evergreen Kingdom Palace. Now both sides had already reached a certain level of strength and didn't dare to act recklessly. This time around, his cultivation speed was the slowest. Even when he broke through to the Immortal King realm and comprehended his law domain, it wasn't so slow. After all, the cultivation of energy was something that could be traced. It was a sublimation of one's strength. However, the cultivation of the soul was like starting from a blank piece of paper. This was extremely difficult. The undying scripture was something that complemented the other unique ability of his seventh astral soul. He had to comprehend it well, as it would surely be of great use to him in the future. As he cultivated, Qin Wentian's soul energy grew stronger and stronger. In the end, he was able to allow his soul to leave his body, and even caused his soul to shine with corporeal light. This was simply shocking. It was unknown how many times stronger his soul was compared to before he started cultivating the undying scripture. Finally, one day, after many failures, Qin Wentian finally picked up the divine weapon and held it firmly. Although his soul was still shaken greatly, he was already able to reduce the impact to the minimum. The figure of the undying old freak appeared. He stared at Qin Wentian and shook his head. "You actually used such a long time. How disappointing, too weak. If I knew this would happen, I would have set a time limit for you." The moment Qin Wentian saw this undying old freak, he felt his blood boiling as he gritted his teeth in hatred. "Why? Do you have any objections?" The voice of the undying old freak turned cold. In an instant, Qin Wentian felt his soul trembling. How would Junior dare? "AI, it's good that you know you don't dare to. After cultivating here for so many years, your strength has improved greatly. This is all because of me. I don't need you to feel grateful. Just accompany me here for 8 to 10 years and chat with me before you leave." The words of the undying old freak instantly caused Qin Wentian's eyes to roll back. He almost collapsed to the ground, foaming at the mouth. This. Qin Wentian wanted to die. Stay here with this undying old freak for 8 to 10 years? Chat. Even if he didn't die, he would go crazy. However, if this undying old freak really had such thoughts, the pitiful Qin Wentian basically had no strength to resist. Not willing. The undying old freak combed his long hair, revealing a pair of eyes and a pale old face. He stared at Qin Wentian. "Do you know how many people want to see me but are rejected? For countless years, I've only seen you and that little lass. Yet you are still unwilling to stay with me? If you accompany me for 8 to 10 more years, your cultivation base would definitely improve." Qin Wentian's gaze flickered. He suddenly wavered. If he could really improve his strength, he could consider sacrificing himself. "Don't even think about it. Right now, even if you beg me to stay here, I won't agree. Scram. The undying old freak waved his hand. Instantly, Qin Wentian felt his body rising uncontrollably into the air. His speed was inconceivably fast, as though he was shuttling through space. Terrifying gusts of wind whistled through the air. Boom! Qin Wentian's body directly slammed into the ground, creating a large crater. He cursed in a low voice as his silhouette flickered and leaped out of the crater, his eyes narrowing as he stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared ahead. He actually returned to the place where he entered the Forbidden Ground, the periphery of the Dark North Immortal Mountain. That undying old freak waved his hand and blasted him back. This undying old freak was too monstrous. Without any warning, Qin Wentian was blasted back. Those guards glanced at Qin Wentian as their gazes abruptly froze. Qin Wentian had actually returned. Wasn't he one of those who entered the Forbidden Ground tens of years ago? He actually managed to come back alive? An Immortal Foundation expert, he entered the Forbidden Ground and didn't die? Qin Wentian didn't care about their strange gazes. He stared in the direction of the Forbidden Ground as he sighed in his heart. After a moment of silence, Qin Wentian bowed in the direction of the Forbidden Ground as he silently mused. Old freak, I hope you can wait until I have enough strength to enter the Forbidden Ground again. At that time, I will definitely fight a great battle against you. After bowing for a long time, he stood up. After that, he elegantly turned and walked towards the exit of the Dark North Immortal Mountain. His silhouette flickered. Qin Wentian's speed was extremely fast, passing through the mountains one after another. After that, he came to the peak of a mountain and stared at a figure before him. This figure quietly sat on the mountain, playing a zither. The melody contained a feeling of longing, as though the person playing the zither had always been waiting for someone. Qin Wentian quietly stood there, staring at the beautiful melody as a faint smile could be seen on his face. He didn't expect that for this trip to the Immortal Mountains, he would be together with Jiyin. Both of them broke through to the Immortal King realm. This was truly a stroke of good fortune. The zither melody continued on unceasingly until it naturally came to an end. Only then did the melody gradually dissipate. Jiyin's beautiful eyes opened as a radiant smile could be seen. She stared at Qin Wentian. I knew you would return. Hence, I have been waiting here for you. Why did you wait for me? Qin Wentian shook his head and smiled. Since we came together, we will naturally leave together. Jiyin spoke in a light voice. Her reason was extremely simple, yet it seemed to be very logical. Let's go. Qin Wentian smiled. After that, Jiyin stood up and the two of them walked side by side, heading towards the exit. Outside the Dark North Immortal Mountain, there was an expert who saw Jiyin and Qin Wentian coming out. After that, he couldn't help but to be startled. After that he spoke. The two of you, Princess Nongyue has given the order. If the two of you come out, immediately inform her. Princess Nongyue will personally come over. Princess is too polite. Qin Wentian smiled. He stared at Jiyin. In that case, let's wait here for Baiming Nongyue. Right. Jiyin nodded. Chapter 1356. Baiming Nongyue and Li Yufeng came together with some Immortal King guards. When they saw Qin Wentian and Jiyin standing together, Li Yufeng laughed. The two of you seem to be quite compatible with each other. Seems like you are about to have a good time. Using me and Jiyin to tease me. Qin Wentian laughed. Baiming Nongyue surveyed Qin Wentian. At first, he seemed the same as before, but if one carefully sensed him, they could faintly sense that Qin Wentian's aura seemed to have changed a little. But as for what changed, she couldn't tell. This fellow actually managed to exit the Forbidden Ground. It was truly a miracle. Did he break through? Li Yufeng couldn't be bothered to guess. He directly asked Qin Wentian. Why don't you guess? Qin Wentian laughed. Li Yufeng's eyes flashed as a look of shock appeared on his face. Baiming Nongyue drew in a deep breath as well. Qin Wentian actually broke through? How old are you? Baiming Nongyue curiously asked. Wuxia's age couldn't be estimated just by looking at his appearance. At the peak of Immortal Foundation, even those who have cultivated for thousands of years would have a youthful appearance, let alone Immortal Kings. Even for Immortal Kings who have cultivated for tens of thousands of years, they would still look extremely young. If Qin Wentian and Jiyin broke through to the Immortal King realm, even if they appeared to be in their 20s, it was hard to tell their actual ages. I forgot. Qin Wentian shrugged and smiled. For something like cultivation, it was extremely time-consuming. Very few people would care about age. They would only care about the strength of their cultivation base. As to why Baiming Nongyue asked about Qin Wentian's age, it was mainly because she felt that he might be extremely young. If he was really that young, he might have broken all sorts of records and his future accomplishments would be even more terrifying. Baiming Nongyue glared at Qin Wentian. Let's go to the royal palace for a walk. Since you came to the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, I have yet to invite you to a banquet. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. After that, their silhouettes flashed as Qin Wentian asked, how is the eastern regions of the immortal realms? There shouldn't be too much of a commotion. If not, there should be some news from the royal palace. I've also paid attention to it. Although there might be undercurrents, a true war between immortals has yet to erupt. Baiming Nongyue spoke in a light voice. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. As expected, a war between the peak powers of the immortal realms wouldn't erupt in just 8 to 10 years. Qin Wentian heaved a sigh of relief. Since there was no super-immortal war, Qing'er and the others should be fine. They should still be cultivating peacefully. Otherwise he would have to leave immediately. The royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom was extremely majestic. Before this, Qin Wentian and the Wan clan had taken a look at it from the outside. But now he followed Baiming Nongyue into the royal palace. As they entered deeper and deeper, they could feel a boundless aura gushing towards them. Within the royal palace, experts were as common as the clouds. Immortal kings could be seen everywhere. This royal palace was the place where the experts of the vast Hokage Sengoku Kingdom gathered, representing the peak power of the empire. We pay our respects to your highness. On the way, many people who met Baiming Nongyue would all bow to show their respect. Baiming Nongyue also nodded her head lightly. She brought Qin Wentian along as they headed towards a certain direction. Dang! At this moment, the sound of a bell chime rang out, causing Baiming Nongyue to halt her steps as a strange look flashed in her eyes. Dang! The bell chime rang out once more, causing the entire royal palace to tremble. The gazes of the experts all turned to the same direction. This bell chime originated from the Emperor Palace. His Majesty was summoning them. Something major had happened. Baiming Nongyue's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. She then asked, the Dark North bell is ringing. All the nobility characters have to head to the Emperor Palace for a gathering. What happened? His Majesty has set up a banquet for everyone in the royal palace. All the nobility characters can head to the Emperor Palace to welcome the return of Princess Yu Huang. A voice rang out together with the bell chime, reverberating throughout the entire royal palace. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with sharpness. He naturally knew what the return of Princess Kitamura signified. The immortal kings of the Tiandao Sacred Academy also came out. Since Princess Kitamura came out, senior brother by Wuxia would definitely return as well. The immortal kings with the highest talent would all return. Seems like the immortal realms wouldn't be peaceful anymore. They were all at the immortal foundation realm, and wouldn't be able to cause too much waves in the immortal realms. But for immortal kings it was different. This was especially so for the peak stage immortal kings with outstanding talent. This trip to the Tiandao Sacred Academy would definitely allow them to improve greatly. Baiming Nongyue was first shocked. After that, a smile appeared in her beautiful eyes as she mumbled, my elder sis might have broken through to the immortal emperor realm. Qin Wentian and Li Yufeng trembled again. Baiming Nongyue drew in a deep breath. The youngest immortal emperor in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom is no longer Pei Qing. It's someone from the royal clan of our Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Princess Kitamura. Awesome. Li Yufeng praised. He had always heard of how powerful Princess Kitamura was. But now, she actually broke through to the immortal emperor realm, becoming the youngest immortal emperor in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. As a female, she was truly worthy of respect. It's extremely rare for father to use the Dark North Bell. If it's only elder sis who returned, there's no way he would create such a huge commotion. Clearly, she has broken through to the immortal emperor realm. Baiming Nongyue laughed. Elder sis is truly awesome. The #1 beauty of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, and now, the youngest immortal emperor in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Seems like I can only look up to Elder Sis forever. You can't put it this way. At the very least, there's one point in which you are more outstanding compared to your sister. Li Yufeng spoke. Oh. What point? Bai Mingnongyue curiously asked. You found a man as outstanding as me. Li Yufeng proudly spoke. Bai Mingnongyue sneaked a glance at Qin Wentian and Ji Yin. She was speechless. Qin Wentian suppressed his laughter. He didn't expect the saint child of the 100 Refinements sect to be so shameless. However, it's truly not easy to find a man worthy of my sister. No wonder she has no interest in men. Right now, even Pei Qing is no longer qualified. Bai Mingnongyue spoke with some arrogance. Let's go. Since this is a wedding banquet, I can naturally bring you guys along. Qin Wentian, I will arrange a banquet for you another day. You wouldn't mind, right? Bai Mingnongyue spoke. How can I mind? The Dark North bell is ringing and the immortal emperor is arranging a banquet for all the nobility. With such a grand lineup to welcome me to the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, why would I mind? Qin Wentian laughed in a low voice, causing Bai Mingnongyue to be speechless again. Li Yufeng laughed uproariously. I didn't expect you to be even more shameless than me. It's fine as long as you guys are happy. Bai Mingnongyue was speechless by these two shameless fellows. She turned and continued on her way, heading towards the Dark North Emperor Palace instead of the princess residence. Li Yufeng, have you seen the Dark North Immortal Emperor before? Qin Wentian curiously asked. Nope. Li Yufeng shook his head. In that case, are you nervous this time around? Qin Wentian laughed. This was equivalent to the first time he met the Chongqing the Great. I'm like a jade tree with unparalleled talent. What's there to be nervous about? Li Yufeng magnanimously spoke. I hope you can still be so confident after meeting the Dark North Immortal Emperor. Qin Wentian nodded his head this time around. Also, I have such a powerful elder sister. How tragic. Li Yufeng glared at Qin Wentian and smacked his head. That's right, Bai Mingnongyue has such a powerful elder sister. It wouldn't be easy for him to mingle around here. He hoped that Bai Mingnongyue's family wouldn't compare him to Princess Kitamura. That would truly be tragic. At this moment, the major characters of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom were all heading towards the direction of the Emperor Palace. There was a banquet in the royal palace, but only those with high statuses and nobility were qualified to enter. These people were all extremely tyrannical, and many of them weren't allowed to bow when they saw Bai Mingnongyue. They would simply nod their heads and address her as princess. There were even some who were elders of Bai Mingnongyue's direct line of descent who needed her to treat them with respect. Hence Qin Wentian and Li Yufeng followed beside Bai Mingnongyue, attracting the gazes of the experts here. Evidently, these people were all curious as to what sort of person the man Bai Mingnongyue liked was exactly. Right now, she actually wanted to bring him to the Emperor Palace for a banquet? This was truly an extraordinary matter. Within the Emperor Palace, before a majestic palace, the immortal banquet had already been prepared as experts gathered here. At the very front, several princes personally came to welcome them. When they saw Bai Mingnongyue entering with a group of people, a strange look flashed in their eyes. Nongyue, who are these people? Someone laughed. A few of my good friends. Bai Mingnongyue didn't mind it. But in truth, many people knew of the existence of the saint child of the 100 Refinements sect, Li Yufeng. After all, it has been over 10 years since he came to the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Nongyue, your elder sister has already broken through to the immortal emperor realm. You have to work hard as well, and don't neglect your cultivation. A young man spoke. His aura was outstanding, and he was a prince of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, an immortal king expert. Royal brother is the same as well. Elder sister is younger than you, but now, she has already broken through to the immortal emperor realm. Royal brother, you have to work hard. Bai Mingnongyue smiled as she replied, her words causing the young man to stiffen. He glared at Bai Mingnongyue, feeling that his face was somewhat disgraceful. Indeed, with Princess Kitamura's talent, although she was the glory of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, to those princes and princesses, her talent was nothing but a shadow. Your elder sister won't delay her cultivation because of love. What cultivation base do you have now? Why are you being restricted here? When your elder sister returns, she will definitely teach you a lesson." That prince continued. "You better care about yourself first." Bai Mingnongyue's lips twitched. That young man's gaze turned sharp as he stared at Qin Wentian and Li Yufeng. Qin Wentian's face was filled with black lines, feeling extremely depressed. He felt that he would be implicated by Li Yufeng for coming here today. Li Yufeng wanted to meet with his father-in-law, as well as many princes and an immortal emperor princess. One could very well imagine the pressure he was under, and he would definitely attract all sorts of gazes. Qin Wentian silently scolded himself for not thinking things through. If he knew this would happen, he wouldn't have stepped into these muddy waters. Princess Yuhuang is truly unparalleled in our dynasty, fighting for the glory of our dynasty. Such a young immortal emperor, there are no precedents in the past, and it would be hard for there to be someone like her in the future. In the future, if... A person laughed, but he suddenly paused, as though he was afraid that someone would feel a taboo. And as expected, the countenances of some of the princes changed. Princess Yuhuang is truly powerful. All of us are inferior to her. The number one beauty of our Hokage Sengoku kingdom is actually the number one heaven chosen as well. She dared to enter the forbidden ground at the Immortal Foundation realm, and came out safely. At that time, I already felt that Princess Yuhuang's future was boundless. Everyone was praising Princess Kitamura. Some of the princes had dim expressions on their faces. If Princess Kitamura continued to develop so domineeringly in the future, the Hokage Sengoku kingdom would most probably be ruled by her. Chapter 1357. Qin Wentian surveyed the experts in the surroundings. Those who could attend this banquet were all powerful characters at the Immortal King realm or above. All of them had extraordinary statuses in the royal palace. Even the princes and Bai Mingnongyue wouldn't receive too much respect in the crowd. However, these people weren't stingy with their praises for Princess Kitamura. All sorts of voices drifted into Qin Wentian's ears, sounding extremely chaotic. Although Qin Wentian didn't pay too much attention to them, the vast majority of them were praising Princess Kitamura. There were even some who were filled with reverence. Immortal Emperor. How many people could only look up to this height in their entire lives? Even for those who attended this banquet, including all the immortal kings, only a single digit would be able to step into the Immortal Emperor realm. However, Princess Kitamura has already broken through from the Immortal King realm to the Immortal Emperor realm. How could the word heavens chosen be sufficient to describe her? She was simply unrivaled in the heavens and earth. In their words, Princess Kitamura was already unrivaled in the immortal realms. Her talent could shock the entire immortal realms. At this moment, there were experts walking out from the Emperor Palace. Many people bowed slightly. There were Emperor-ranked characters walking out, receiving the respect of the crowd. Immortal-ranked experts were lofty existences no matter where they went, let alone Princess Kitamura, who was the youngest immortal emperor in history. Finally, a middle-aged man exuding magnificence walked out. In an instant, the voices stopped. Everyone turned to him and bowed in unison. "We pay our respects to your majesty." Qin Wentian surveyed the man before him. This man seemed to be around 40 years of age, and had the vigor of a dragon and tiger. Although his aura was calm, his gaze was immeasurably deep. His eyes were filled with spirit, sweeping through everyone with a single glance. Everyone felt as though the immortal emperor was looking at them. "Today, I invited all of you here for a joyous banquet. That lass Yuhuang has always been extraordinary since young. Regardless of which aspect she is incomparably outstanding. Right now, she even broke the record of being the number one emperor in the history of our Hokage Sengoku kingdom, becoming the youngest immortal emperor since the founding of our dynasty. Hence, I wish to share this joy with everyone and welcome her together. Everyone, I hope you all won't mind, right?" The Dark North Immortal Emperor smiled. His voice was warm and polite, appearing very approachable. Everyone laughed. Princess Yuhuang's talent is outstanding. Now that she has broken through to the Immortal Emperor realm, this is naturally a joyous matter. Let us congratulate your majesty. Congratulations, your majesty. All the experts bowed. The Dark North Heavenly Emperor smiled and said, "You don't have to be so polite. Please take your seats." "Your Majesty, please take your seat." Everyone naturally understood the rules of etiquette. If the Dark North Heavenly Emperor didn't enter the banquet, who would dare to do so? Even if His Majesty didn't mind, they still had to be polite. All right. The Dark North Immortal Emperor nodded and sat on the main seat. The princes and princesses all took their seats below him. After that, everyone sat down. "Everyone, please take your seats." However, the banquet might have to wait for a while. After all, the purpose of this banquet is to welcome Yu Huang. I hope that everyone won't mind. The Dark North Immortal Emperor smiled warmly. Everyone nodded, indicating that they understood. This was only natural. "Nongyue, why are you sitting there?" At this moment, the prince who quarreled with Baiming Nongyue earlier spoke, his words causing Baiming Nongyue to unhappily glance at him. As the sound of his voice faded, the Dark North Immortal Emperor turned his gaze to Baiming Nongyue before glancing at the three people beside her. He then smiled. "Nongyue, why haven't father seen these three before?" "Father, they are all my friends." Baiming Nongyue spoke, silently cursing her father for acting dumb in her heart. The entire Hokage Sengoku Kingdom belonged to him. How could matters in the royal palace be hidden from him? Let alone the fact that this concerned her man. The Dark North Immortal Emperor should have long known about it. "Why don't you introduce them to father?" The Dark North Immortal Emperor smiled, appearing incomparably warm. However, Qin Wentian also knew that a character like the Dark North Immortal Emperor would surely be extremely astute. How could he not know of Li Yufeng? "These are my friends, Qin Wentian and Jiyin. They came from afar. Hence I specially brought them to the royal palace. I hope father won't blame me." The Dark North Immortal Emperor pointed to Qin Wentian and Jiyin as he spoke. After that, he pointed to Li Yufeng. However, before she could say anything, Li Yufeng already stood up and bowed to the Dark North Immortal Emperor with a smile. "I'm Li Yufeng from the 100 Refinement Sect. I pay my respects to your majesty." "Someone from the 100 Refinement Sect?" The Dark North Immortal Emperor feigned ignorance. He then smiled. "You are so far away, why are you so free to come to my royal palace to play?" Qin Wentian secretly laughed in his heart. This Dark North Immortal Emperor's ability to feign ignorance was truly top-notch. Let's see if this Li Yufeng still dares to boast in front of the Dark North Immortal Emperor. Junior is acquainted with Nongyue, and we have a mutual admiration for each other. Because I couldn't control my longing for her, I specially came to the royal palace. Li Yufeng also understood that the Dark North Immortal Emperor was feigning ignorance. Hence, he decided to lay his cards on the table, causing Qin Wentian to silently muse that this fellow was truly audacious, directly saying that he and Baiming Nongyue had a mutual admiration for each other. Qin Wentian was filled with admiration for him. Oh! The Dark North Immortal Emperor glanced at Baiming Nongyue. "Nongyue, is that so?" Baiming Nongyue also stood up. "Father, Li Yufeng's words are the truth. When a daughter is of age, she can't be kept at home. Such a major matter. Why didn't you discuss this with father first? Could it be that you are planning to marry him in private?" The Dark North Immortal Emperor calmly spoke, no longer as amicable as before. A moment later, even Qin Wentian, who was at the side, felt a pressure gushing over. As long as the emotions of the Dark North Immortal Emperor fluctuated, everyone would feel a sense of pressure. "Your daughter doesn't dare to. This time around, I brought Li Yufeng here because I want father to take a look at him." Baiming Nongyue bowed. "Are you planning to act first and report later?" That prince earlier coldly laughed. Baiming Nongyue coldly glanced at him. The relationship between the princes and princesses of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom wasn't so harmonious. The Dark North Immortal Emperor had many wives, and this prince had the same father, but different mothers as Baiming Nongyue. It was inevitable that there would be conflicts in the royal palace. Even for an immortal dynasty that focused on cultivation, it was no exception. Also, casually bringing your friends to the banquet? Could it be that Nongyue, don't you know what kind of standard this banquet is? Is it a place where your ordinary friends can casually enter? Another prince impolitely spoke. The nobility characters as well as those attending the banquet all fell silent. This was the family matter of the Dark North Immortal Emperor. It wasn't their place to interfere. I was originally preparing to host a banquet in the princess residence, and coincidentally, the bell chimes rang out. I know that Elder Sis has broken through to the Immortal Emperor realm, and the royal palace is celebrating. This isn't a secret. As a princess of an immortal dynasty, can't I bring my friends here? Baiming Nongyue counter-asked. How willful. That prince coldly snorted. Enough, Yu Huang has arrived. The Dark North Immortal Emperor calmly spoke, causing the quarrels to cease. The gazes of everyone turned to the horizons, and as expected, not long after, a few figures could be seen flying over. There were immortal kings who went to welcome Baiming Yu Huang, as well as the immortal kings who entered the Sacred Academy together with her. They all came over together. The Dark North Immortal Emperor stood up. Everyone instantly stood up as well, staring at Princess Kitamura, who was slowly walking over. That supreme beauty was as dazzling as ever. She stood there, causing the other geniuses in the surroundings to lose their luster. No one could compete with her for the limelight. Yu Huang, my daughter. The Dark North Immortal Emperor smiled, his voice filled with doting love and pride. This daughter of his was the most outstanding one among all his children, regardless of beauty or talent. She was naturally the one he doted on the most. The youngest immortal emperor in history. In the future, her achievements might even surpass him, her father. He would naturally be proud of such a daughter. Father. Princess Kitamura halted her steps and called out to her father. We pay our respects to your majesty. The others bowed. Congratulations to Princess Yu Huang for breaking through to the immortal emperor realm. The experts at the banquet all clasped their hands in congratulations. For a period of time, the atmosphere was extremely lively. Princess Kitamura nodded lightly to everyone. There was no joy nor sorrow in her expression. Her personality was as cold as ice, as though she wouldn't be moved at all. Her heart was like this. Other than the power she had, external fame wouldn't be able to sway her. What a cold and elegant woman. Qin Wentian stared at Princess Kitamura as he silently mused. He had met Princess Kitamura before a very long time ago, but at that time in the city of ancient emperors, the one he met wasn't Princess Kitamura's true self. He had no idea what she was, and she could even seize the body of others. It was extremely bizarre, like a beautiful female ghost. Yu Huang, come and sit beside father. The Dark North Immortal Emperor smiled. Princess Kitamura nodded her head lightly. After that, she stepped out and moved to the side of the Dark North Immortal Emperor. The Dark North Immortal Emperor personally gave half of his seat to Princess Kitamura, causing the hearts of the nobility to tremble. The countenances of many princes and princesses froze as an unsightly look flashed in their eyes. However, they soon concealed it. The Dark North Immortal Emperor gave half of his seat to Princess Kitamura. Although it seemed to be an unintentional action, if one thought deeply about it, the meaning behind it was sufficient to cause the hearts of everyone to tremble. They didn't know if the Dark North Immortal Emperor had that layer of meaning, or if his words were half true and half false. However, Princess Kitamura didn't mind it at all. If he wanted her to sit, she would sit. All right, let the banquet begin. The Dark North Immortal Emperor waved his hand. Everyone returned to their seats, and the banquet began. The Dark North Immortal Emperor raised his cup. Let's toast to Yu Huang, to celebrate the glorious return of my beloved daughter. Congratulations to Princess Yu Huang for her glorious return. Everyone raised their cups and drank. Yu Huang, this time when the immortal kings came out from the Sacred Academy, what's the situation inside? The Dark North Immortal Emperor asked. Father, with the opening of the Heavenly Tao Sacred Academy, the era is about to change. Maybe things might really be like what the rumors say. The era of ancient emperors is about to begin. The vast immortal realms would surely be filled with a storm of blood and storms. Princess Kitamura sighed, her words causing the expressions of everyone to freeze. The Dark North Immortal Emperor asked, why do you say so? This time around, the Tiandao Sacred Academy has opened. For those at the Immortal King level who entered the Sacred Academy, a total of 5 immortal emperors have emerged. As the sound of Princess Kitamura's voice faded, it was like a bolt of lightning striking the hearts of everyone, incomparably shocking. In a short span of less than 100 years, 5 immortal emperors emerged from the Tiandao Sacred Academy? Has she gone crazy? When did it become so easy for immortal emperors to emerge? Qin Wentian's gaze also trembled. He knew the difficulty of cultivation. Back then, although the Immortal Foundation realm was chased out after 50 years, it was a fact that no immortal kings were born. There were many who were already close to the Immortal King realm. However, there were actually 5 immortal emperors among the immortal kings. This was simply unbelievable and hard to imagine. No wonder everyone was shocked. Clearly, they were all stunned by this news. Even the Dark North Immortal Emperor started. After that he spoke. Seems like a storm is about to rise in the immortal realms. Although 5 immortal emperors wouldn't be able to cause too much of a storm, this is a sign that a new era is about to be born. Maybe the ancient emperors are among you all. Everyone nodded in agreement. Maybe the ancient emperors were none other than Princess Kitamura. Chapter 1358. An Ancient Emperor. Princess Kitamura stared into the distance. After that, her beautiful eyes turned and stared at Baiming Nongyue as she asked, "Nongyue, why are you together with him?" Him. Baiming Nongyue's gaze froze. The eyes of everyone turned over only to see Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes landing on Qin Wentian, who was beside Baiming Nongyue. It wasn't Li Yufeng but Qin Wentian instead. "Brother Qin?" Baiming Nongyue asked. "Why did you appear in my Dark North royal palace?" Princess Kitamura turned her gaze onto Qin Wentian. "Elder sis, Brother Qin is my friend." Baiming Nongyue spoke. "Nongyue is truly outrageous, bringing just anyone to our royal palace. In addition, this is a banquet to welcome you, Yu Huang. She even dares to bring her friend here? Doesn't she know if he has the qualifications or not?" The prince earlier added insult to injury. "How can my friend not have the qualifications?" Baiming Nongyue was extremely unhappy. Who knows where these people from the 3 sects and 9 paths came from? Why don't you look at what place this is? That prince coldly snorted. Even the people from the 3 sects and 9 paths are stronger than you. Baiming Yuhuang glanced at that prince, causing him to start. He stared at Baiming Yuhuang as his expression grew unsightly. He could say that it was Baiming Nongyue, but now that Baiming Yuhuang had entered the Immortal Emperor realm, his father even wanted her to sit beside him, and the royal palace had prepared a banquet for her. He didn't dare to refute, but he still snorted coldly in an unhappy manner. "You are not convinced?" Princess Kitamura's expression turned cold. "The first time I met him, he was still at the Celestial Phenomenon realm. That was less than 100 years ago. The second time I met him was when the Tiandao Sacred Academy opened. At that time, he had already broken through to Immortal Foundation, but he was only at the initial stage. Now he is already at the Immortal King realm. What about you? From Celestial Phenomenon to the Immortal King realm. How long did you take?" The people in the surroundings all drew in a breath of cold air as they stared in shock at Qin Wentian. They didn't expect that the friend of Baiming Nongyue who was quietly sitting there would actually be so outstanding. In addition, Qin Wentian was such a young immortal king. From the Celestial Phenomenon realm to the Immortal King realm within 100 years. What cultivation speed was this? Many people turned their gazes to Princess Kitamura. Wasn't this speed even faster than Princess Yuhuang? You can't even get into the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Instead of pointing fingers here and scheming against each other, you might as well spend more time thinking about how to cultivate. Princess Kitamura impolitely continued berating. That prince's expression turned extremely unsightly to behold. He wanted to retort, but the Dark North Immortal Emperor also spoke at this moment. "Yu Huang is right. You should focus on your cultivation. What's the point of wasting your time on such minor matters?" The prince's face turned pale. He immediately lost his temper and said, "Yes, father." However, his heart was filled with hatred for Baiming Yuhuang. These simple words instantly caused his image and status to weaken by an unknown amount. "Qin Wentian, could you be that fellow who caused an emperor-ranked war in the eastern regions? Over 10 years ago, the Chongqing the Great announced that he would betroth his daughter, Princess Qing, to a young man named Qin Wentian. I'm sure you are that young man, right? At this moment, some people suddenly recalled the introduction Bai Ming Nongyue gave to Qin Wentian. Earlier, this name sounded somewhat familiar, but they didn't pay too much attention to it. Now that Princess Kitamura mentioned it, they suddenly recalled this matter. Oh! The gaze of the Dark North Immortal Emperor turned to Qin Wentian with interest. This friend of Nongyue actually had such a great background. Back then, he had heard of the emperor-ranked war in the eastern regions. The commotion was so great that it even caused the adjudication battle during the era of ancient emperors. He didn't expect that the person who played the most important role would be here at the banquet. Also, he was so young and his cultivation speed was so terrifying. The Chongqing the Great even wanted to recruit him as his son-in-law. You came here for the Dark North Immortal Mountain, right? Breaking through to the Immortal King realm in the Dark North Immortal Mountain? Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared at this supreme beauty before him as he felt a sense of danger. This woman was too cold, noble and emotionless. Her fair face was so beautiful that it was suffocating. She actually easily guessed where Qin Wentian broke through to the Immortal King realm. Qin Wentian felt that things might be troublesome if he encountered her. Princess Yu Huang is intelligent. This time around, I did break through to the Immortal King realm in the Dark North Immortal Mountain. Qin Wentian nodded. Back then you obstructed me from obtaining the inheritance. What do you have to say about that? Princess Kitamura's beautiful face turned cold. Only now did everyone know that Princess Yu Huang was acquainted with this person. There seemed to be some conflict between them. So many years have passed and Princess Yu Huang has already broken through to the Immortal Emperor realm. Why is there a need to be so calculative? If I have offended you in any way, Qin Wentian would like to apologize. Qin Wentian spoke. I naturally won't be calculative. Not being able to obtain the inheritance is my own problem. But since you are here now, I can save a lot of trouble. Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. A moment later, Qin Wentian's expression changed. What did this Princess Kitamura want to do to him? What does Princess Yu Huang want? Qin Wentian asked. Where's that demonic beast beside you? Also, you seem to possess ancient Emperor Yi's secret art, God's hand, right? Princess Kitamura spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. His expression was somewhat unhappy. Is this how the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom treats their guests? Elder sis, he is a friend I brought over. Bai Ming Nongyue spoke unhappily. Nongyue, this matter has nothing to do with you. Princess Kitamura's voice was as calm as ever. I'm sure everyone has heard of the emperor-ranked war in the eastern regions. If I, Qin, had offended the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, there's nothing I can say. But if something happened to me because I was invited here as a guest, many powers in the eastern regions would definitely not let this matter rest. Princess, why must you be so stubborn over such trivial matters? Qin Wentian's tone also turned cold. I won't do anything to you. I'm just asking for some things. You won't lose a single strand of hair. Also, I will invite you to my princess residence as a guest. Princess Kitamura calmly spoke, causing Qin Wentian to be speechless. This woman was simply unfathomable. In her eyes, there was only cultivation. Everyone, there's no need to mind this matter. Just continue with the banquet. After the banquet, I will invite him to my princess residence. Princess Kitamura spoke as though nothing had happened. Everyone smiled and nodded, acting as though nothing had happened. Even the Dark North Immortal Emperor acted dumb. Qin Wentian wanted to cry when he saw this scene. These major characters of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom were truly a bunch of hoodlums. Yu Huang, the other person beside your younger sister Nongyue, said that he is her boyfriend. What do you think? The Dark North Immortal Emperor spoke to Princess Kitamura. It's hard to avoid love. As long as you don't wallow in it, it would affect your cultivation. Nongyue, you have to control yourself. This matter is ultimately your own matter, and you have to walk your own path. Others won't be able to replace you. Princess Kitamura calmly spoke, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. Yu Huang, your words aren't without reason. Nongyue, it's not that reliable to place your hopes on a man. As a female, you should have some achievements as well. Your elder sister's talent is outstanding. How many people in the immortal realms are worthy of her? You better take care of yourself. The Dark North Immortal Emperor calmly spoke, reminding Baiming Nongyue, but he wouldn't interfere too much. As for whether he would approve or not, the current Li Yufeng clearly didn't have the qualifications to do so. It was already very polite of him not to object. Oh! Baiming Nongyue was somewhat unhappy. She stared at Qin Wentian with an apologetic gaze. She had no way to stop her elder sister's decision. However, she would watch over her elder sister and Qin Wentian. In that case, her elder sister wouldn't be able to do anything to Qin Wentian. Brother Qin, if there's an opportunity, I will definitely secretly release you. Today, I've implicated you. Baiming Nongyue transmitted her voiceover. This matter can't be blamed on you. In any case, your elder sister also said that I won't lose a single strand of hair. I can only blame it on my bad luck. Jin, please help me make the arrangements. Qin Wentian was quite open-minded. During the banquet, there was naturally no lack of praises for Princess Kitamura. She became the main character and occasionally, there would be people who would notice Qin Wentian and Li Yufeng. These two fellows seemed to be extraordinary. This was especially so for Qin Wentian. He was a legendary young man. Such a young immortal king was simply terrifying. After the banquet ended, Princess Kitamura spoke to the Dark North Immortal Emperor. Father, I've cultivated in the Sacred Academy for many years. Now, I need to consolidate my foundations before I return to my own residence. Go ahead. The Dark North Immortal Emperor naturally agreed. Qin Wentian, come with me to my residence. Princess Kitamura spoke to Qin Wentian, her tone cold. She was clad in a simple white robe, yet it was unable to mask her magnificence. Regardless of her face or figure, they were both perfect. Since Princess Yuhuang has invited me, I will naturally accept. Qin Wentian knew that in this royal palace, there was no way he could reject. I will go as well. Baiming Nongyue spoke. Princess Nongyue, there's no need. I believe that Princess Yuhuang won't do anything to me. Qin Wentian glanced at Jin. Baiming Nongyue's beautiful eyes flashed before she nodded. Elder sis, I also believe that you won't do anything to my friend. If not, I will never forgive you. Let's go. Princess Kitamura glanced at Baiming Nongyue before stepping out. Qin Wentian smiled at Jin. Jin, take care of yourself in the future. Jin was a little worried. I will introduce a master to Miss Jin. Brother Qin, there's no need to worry. In the future, you can pay a visit to Miss Jin. Baiming Nongyue stared at Jin. What does Miss Jin think? Many thanks, Princess. Jin nodded lightly. This time around, she didn't reject. Qin Wentian had a carefree smile on his face as he followed after Princess Kitamura. Princess Kitamura's residence was extremely quiet, and the environment was beautiful. There was actually no one here, not even guards or serving girls. Most probably this had something to do with her personality. Such a large residence, is there only Princess Kitamura staying here? Qin Wentian curiously asked. Isn't it good to not be disturbed by others when cultivating? Princess Kitamura stared at Qin Wentian. Aren't you worried at all? Princess Yuhuang has already promised that she wouldn't let me lose a single strand of hair. What's there for me to be worried about? In addition, with such a beautiful environment, being able to interact with the #1 beauty of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. How many people would dream of this? Qin Wentian joked, his words causing Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes to coldly glance at him. You are truly gutsy, daring to speak to me like this. Princess Kitamura spoke. I'm merely speaking the truth. For a supreme beauty like Princess Yuhuang, just looking at her is enough to make one's heart and soul warm. Qin Wentian continued. Since he couldn't win in a fight, he might as well tease her a little. This could also be considered revenge for being imprisoned. I hope you will always be like this. Princess Kitamura smiled at Qin Wentian. This smile was beautiful to the extreme, causing Qin Wentian to be in a daze. However, within that smile, there was a hint of demonic brilliance. What is this female ghost planning? Qin Wentian's heart trembled. He mustn't be tempted by her beauty. Chapter 1359. Princess Yuhuang, where will I stay? In this princess residence, only you are allowed to stay. Could it be that I? Qin Wentian stared at the smile on Princess Kitamura's face as his heart trembled. However, his words were still as shameless as before. Princess Kitamura's smile vanished as her expression turned cold. I truly want to see how long your mouth can last. In this princess residence, it's best that you don't wander around recklessly. Although I promised that I wouldn't let you lose a single strand of hair, if you take the initiative to court death, I won't be polite to you. Also, if you are not satisfied with my invitation, you can tell me. But if you secretly leave, how can I do that? Being able to stay together with Princess Yuhuang is something that many people yearn for even in their dreams. How can I, Qin, be willing to leave? Qin Wentian spoke. Humph. Princess Kitamura flicked her sleeves as her silhouette flashed, and she directly left. She actually didn't do anything to Qin Wentian. She only invited him to her princess residence to be placed under house arrest. As long as he didn't step out of the princess residence, there shouldn't be any problems. What does this female ghost want exactly? A look of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. The first time he met Princess Kitamura was in the city of ancient emperors. At that time, he only felt that Princess Kitamura was unbelievably beautiful, appearing and disappearing unpredictably like a female ghost. She could even seize control of the body of others. Even now, he still felt a shadow in his heart, silently calling Princess Kitamura a female ghost. Princess Kitamura left alone, leaving behind Qin Wentian in a daze in her residence. His immortal sense enveloped the princess residence. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he came to a more elegant hot spring. He had nothing better to do, and could only continue to consolidate his foundation. He just broke through to the immortal king realm not long ago, and there were still many techniques worth comprehending. Since he was placed under house arrest by Princess Kitamura, he might as well just stay here peacefully. Qin Wentian closed his eyes and soon sank into a state of immersion, completely forgetting the situation he was in. Time slowly flowed by as night fell. Astral light cascaded downwards, illuminating the ancient royal palace of the Dark North Empire. Astral light shone unceasingly in every corner of the royal palace. Evidently, there were extremely powerful experts borrowing the power of the constellations in the sky to cultivate. Qin Wentian had no distractions in his heart. But at this moment, a ghost-like figure silently flew over. This ghost-like figure was clad in white, and seemed to have no bones at all. It floated in the air, exuding no aura. In addition, this ghost-like figure was extremely beautiful. It was none other than Princess Kitamura. Just like what Qin Wentian had imagined, she was a female ghost. Princess Kitamura moved closer to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian frowned, as though he had sensed something. However, his eyes were still closed. Princess Kitamura's figure floated behind Qin Wentian and slowly merged into Qin Wentian's body, seeping into Qin Wentian's body bit by bit. It was like her silhouette was an incorporeal existence. At this moment, Qin Wentian's body trembled. Princess Kitamura's shadow also trembled within Qin Wentian's body. That was the trembling of her soul. In that illusory soul world, Qin Wentian and Princess Kitamura's souls stood facing each other. Both of them were inside Qin Wentian's body. A terrifying energy sealed this body, causing his soul to have no place to hide. You have also cultivated soul energy? Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light. She was actually trapped. Seems like she had underestimated Qin Wentian. Princess Yuhuang, what do you mean by this? Could it be that the soul is the foundation of a human? If the soul is gone, the fleshly body would merely be a bag of skin? This is a great taboo for cultivators. Qin Wentian's soul stared at her. The two of them were conversing through their souls, but in reality, no sound could be heard. Back then you seized my inheritance. Don't you need to pay any price? Princess Kitamura spoke. What price does Princess Yuhuang want? Qin Wentian spoke. Prying into my soul and memories? Can you guarantee that you won't harm even a strand of my hair? This method is truly powerful, but princess, aren't you going too far? The foundation of a human was in their soul. Their memories were there as well. Prying into his soul was equivalent to prying into everything about Qin Wentian. All of his secrets would be exposed. This Princess Kitamura was simply too ruthless for the sake of cultivation. You owe me. Since you are unwilling to return it, I can only come and take it personally. Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Qin Wentian was somewhat enraged. His expression was unsightly as he spoke. Since this is the case, I truly want to see how Princess Yuhuang can seize my memories. As he spoke, Qin Wentian's soul actually manifested a tyrannical attack, transforming into a terrifying gigantic palm that resembled the god's hand. It smashed towards Baiming Yuhuang's soul, exuding a majestic soul aura. Baiming Yuhuang groaned in misery as she was flung through the air. Her body trembled as her aura grew increasingly weak. Qin Wentian's soul entered Princess Kitamura's body, only to see Princess Kitamura coldly staring at him. Seems like I have underestimated you. However, if you think that your soul is stronger than mine, aren't you a little too arrogant and ignorant? As the sound of her voice faded, in the external world, Qin Wentian suddenly felt a tyrannical aura. After that, he saw a figure walking through the air, exuding resplendent astral light. Princess Kitamura exuded magnificence through the generations. Bathed in the astral light, she was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, incomparably beautiful. However, her expression was cold as she walked towards Qin Wentian, step by step. Evidently, Princess Kitamura's soul hadn't left her body. If not, how would she be able to control her body and exude such a terrifying aura? In that case, what was the soul trapped by Qin Wentian? Is this the method she used to enter the city of ancient emperors? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. This must be the case. Princess Kitamura must have cultivated a unique soul technique that allowed her to split her soul energy. Back then, she used this technique to enter the city of ancient emperors and appeared at the gathering place of celestial phenomenon ascendants. I promised Nongyue that I wouldn't harm you. Don't force me. Hence, it's best that you cooperate. Princess Kitamura's voice was cold as she walked towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Princess Yuhuang, you should understand how taboo it is to pry into the memories of others. Do you really want to do this? Humph. Princess Kitamura stepped out. Who asked you to obstruct me from obtaining the inheritance back then? She stood in front of Qin Wentian and stabbed out with a finger. In an instant, a terrifying energy gushed forth from her. With a rumbling sound, Qin Wentian's body trembled violently. After that, his soul was actually forced out of his body. In the next instant, Princess Kitamura closed her eyes as her soul also left her body. A tyrannical soul aura gushed forth, enveloping Qin Wentian's soul. A battle of souls? Qin Wentian's expression was incredibly unsightly to behold. He didn't expect that he would encounter such trouble the first time he cultivated the undying scripture. If not, things would be even more dangerous. He wouldn't even have the slightest ability to resist. This Princess Kitamura was actually able to force the soul of others to leave their bodies. This was simply terrifying. Her soul cultivation was a level higher compared to him. I can extract your soul memories without harming your soul. You better cooperate with me. Princess Kitamura's soul coldly spoke. The two of them were still communicating through their souls. This was the first time Qin Wentian experienced such a situation. For a time he didn't know what to do. Abruptly, his gaze turned to the soul wisp of Baiming Yuhuang who was injured by him. Ruthlessness appeared in his heart as he spoke to Baiming Yuhuang. Princess Yuhuang, I will still respectfully refer to you as Princess. However, my memories contain all my secrets. I will never allow you to see them. Don't force me. You have no other path to take. Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Her soul continued to press towards Qin Wentian as a terrifying soul aura gushed forth, much stronger compared to Qin Wentian's soul energy. Qin Wentian had just started cultivating the undying scripture. How could he resist Princess Kitamura's soul energy? This was absolute suppression. You have no choice. Princess Kitamura's soul continued to press towards Qin Wentian. A towering soul energy enveloped this entire space, causing Qin Wentian to feel fear. He abruptly lifted his palm and blasted out another palm strike towards the wisp of soul that Princess Kitamura sent out earlier, weakening it even further. Princess Kitamura's expression was cold. That wisp of soul coldly spoke. So what if you erase this wisp of soul of mine? Who says I want to erase it? Qin Wentian's soul rushed out, capturing that wisp of soul. After that, both his hands actually hugged it from behind, wrapping around her waist. Although this was a soul form, it was no different from reality. In fact, the soul form was even more sensitive and direct. In an instant, Princess Kitamura's soul trembled with rage. That wisp of soul also radiated an extremely cold aura. Impudent. Impudent. Two completely identical voices rang out at the same time, filled with coldness to the extreme. Princess, please stop. If not, Qin might do something rude. I hope Princess won't blame me. Qin Wentian icily spoke. His hands slid about, almost touching places that shouldn't be touched. The coldness of Princess Kitamura's soul engulfed the entire space, terrifying to the extreme. She was actually profaned by this bastard. How shameless. Princess Kitamura raged. Is Princess's actions very glorious? You want to pry into my memories? Is there anything I can't do? Princess, please return and don't disturb my cultivation. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. His eyes were filled with determination and his hands were still moving about, causing Princess Kitamura to tremble in anger. I will really kill you. Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Princess Yuhuang is the #1 beauty of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, a supreme beauty in the mortal world. Even if I die under a peony, I would still be a romantic even if I become a ghost. Qin Wentian spoke. Since he acted, it meant that he was prepared in his heart. He had no way to accept someone prying into his memories. No one was allowed to do so. There's no one else in this place. Even if I do something, no one would know. Princess can act willfully and no one would know that your reputation has been tarnished. It's just that my death would surely cause the various major powers to vent their anger on the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. At that time, I'm afraid there would be some powers who would want nothing more than to start a war against the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Qin Wentian continued. Princess Kitamura was so angered that her soul trembled. She stared at Qin Wentian. I've never seen such a shameless person before. Many thanks for princess praise. Qin Wentian spoke. Chapter 1360. When Baiming Yuhuang saw the shameless and arrogant expression on Qin Wentian's face, she was so angry that her killing intent towered up into the sky. However, she didn't want to startle the people of the immortal dynasty. If not, how would she be able to face others in the future? She could only do her best to suppress the coldness radiating from her. There's only a small grudge between me and Princess. Why must Princess be so overbearing? Why don't I leave the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom now? Princess, please don't make things difficult for me. At that time, I will definitely release the soul wisp. Qin Wentian spoke, wanting to use this chance to leave. Release you? Who knows what a shameless person like you would do? Release that soul wisp immediately and I can pretend that nothing has happened. Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Since Princess doesn't believe me, it's very hard for me to believe Princess Yuhuang as well. In that case, things would be difficult. Qin Wentian spoke, as though the negotiation was about to reach a stalemate. You are Nongyue's friend, and was invited to the royal palace as a guest. How are you going to answer to Nongyue for doing such a shameless thing? Princess Kitamura's tone softened. In addition, I heard that Chongqing the Great betrothed his daughter to you. If they knew about this, what would Chongqing the Great and your fiancé do? Princess Yuhuang, you also know that I'm Nongyue's friend. Since you know, you still want to pry into my soul memories? What a great taboo this is. How are you going to answer to Nongyue? As for Chongqing the Great and my fiancé, if they know about my situation, they would naturally understand. If you don't believe me, Princess can just go ahead and expose me. It's best if you announce this to the entire world. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Being trapped in the princess residence, he had just broken through to the immortal king realm. Clearly, It was impossible for him to fight against Princess Kitamura, who has already broken through to the immortal emperor realm. His soul techniques were also inferior to hers. There was no way for him to escape. Could it be that he would allow Princess Kitamura to pry into his soul memories? How could this be possible? Since Princess Kitamura was so ruthless, there was nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Princess Kitamura was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Qin Wentian said, "Actually, I have another way to make everyone happy." "What is it?" Princess Kitamura stared at Qin Wentian coldly. "Princess Yuhuang wants my inheritance? That's naturally impossible. After all, there's no relationship between us. However, if Princess Yuhuang is willing to marry me as my concubine and serve me in the future, I would naturally be willing to impart all sorts of inheritance techniques to my beloved concubine. There's nothing I'm unwilling to do. In fact, I might even allow you to see my soul memories." Qin Wentian spoke with a straight face. "Naturally, I have to do something with Princess Yuhuang first. If not, I'm afraid that Princess might regret her words." "Princess! Enough!" Princess Kitamura was so angry that her soul was trembling. Her face was livid, and her body was filled with a terrifying coldness. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a terrifying killing intent. She wished she could tear Qin Wentian into pieces. This young man actually dared to be so shameless, using words to profane her. Take Princess Kitamura as his concubine? Serve him? She even wanted to do something with him first? What did this mean? Princess Kitamura was a heaven's chosen, the #1 beauty of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Her talent was #1. And she was the youngest immortal emperor in history. Who would dare to be so disrespectful to her? But today, a junior whose cultivation base was inferior to her actually dared to touch her soul and body, using words to profane her. If this was known by the experts of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Qin Wentian would most probably be dismembered into 8 pieces. Even the Dark North Immortal Emperor would personally act to kill him. Upon sensing the towering coldness radiating from Princess Kitamura, Qin Wentian's hands continued to move around dishonestly. However, he didn't dare to go too far. At the very least, he didn't dare to touch certain forbidden areas. If not, Princess Kitamura would disregard everything and kill him. Right now, his purpose was to make Princess Kitamura leave. Princess Yuhuang's true self is still not leaving? Could it be that you really want something to happen between us? Qin Wentian's hands moved about wildly. Princess Kitamura's expression was extremely ugly to behold. After that, her soul returned to her body as her true self exuded a terrifying aura. She coldly stared at Qin Wentian. "If you dare to touch me again, I will really kill you." Qin Wentian's hands froze. He smiled. "As long as Princess leaves, I naturally won't offend you." Princess Kitamura was also decisive. Her true self directly left. She couldn't endure the fact that Qin Wentian was constantly touching her soul. She had never suffered such humiliation before. If it wasn't for the fact that she was an immortal emperor and her rationality far surpassed her impulsiveness, she might really have killed Qin Wentian in a fit of anger. Although her true self had left, her soul was still there. It was just that it was no longer a threat to Qin Wentian. However, Qin Wentian didn't dare to relax. He stared at Princess Kitamura's soul and spoke. "Princess, why must you do this? As long as you let me leave, I will definitely not dare to touch Princess." "You still want to leave the Dark North Royal Palace?" Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Qin Wentian couldn't help but to shiver. "Princess, please don't threaten me. My hands would tremble when I'm afraid. It wouldn't be good if I touch places I shouldn't touch." Princess Kitamura's soul was about to explode from anger. At this moment, Qin Wentian also felt a headache. Although he had no choice but to use shameless methods to resolve this urgent situation, this unbelievably beautiful female ghost was an immortal emperor after all. Her immortal sense could directly envelop the entire princess residence, and she could instantly appear beside him. She could even attack him from afar. The threat was too great. If he was the slightest bit careless, only death would await him. He had no choice but to be extremely cautious. "I have to trouble Princess Yuhuang. Qin Wentian blasted out a soul palm strike, heavily injuring the soul of Princess Kitamura. He had no other choice but to do so. Only by doing so would it be easier for him to control Princess Kitamura. Little did he know that Princess Kitamura wanted nothing more than to destroy this soul of hers. If that was the case, he wouldn't be able to threaten Princess Kitamura at all. After that, Qin Wentian used a soul technique he learned from his cultivation to create a soul prison, trapping the soul of Princess Kitamura within. He then spoke to her. Princess Yuhuang, as long as Princess doesn't act against me, I promise I will abide by the rules. However, if Princess wants to kill me, I, Qin Wentian, am also someone who has cultivated an avatar technique. If my true self dies, my avatar won't die. At that time, I will announce to the world that I was killed because I molested Princess Yuhuang. Who would believe you? The weak soul of Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. You don't believe that I have an avatar technique? I, Qin, can swear on my soul that as for molesting Princess Yuhuang, as long as my avatar sends out a few strands of immortal sense, everyone in the world would believe me. If not, why would Princess Yuhuang offend the Evergreen Kingdom and the immortal Qianbian Gate to kill me, Qin Wentian? Qin Wentian continued, so I hope Princess won't force me. The expression of Princess Kitamura's soul changed. She stared at Qin Wentian. Who did you learn your soul techniques from? I learned them myself. Qin Wentian shamelessly spoke. Was it in the dark north immortal mountain? Princess Kitamura asked. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he glanced at her. Upon seeing Qin Wentian's gaze, Princess Kitamura spoke again. Dark north immortal mountain? An old man with long hair that reaches the ground? Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with a marvelous light. When he thought of the words the undying old freak told him, he instantly felt enlightened. You are the last who obtained the death scripture from the undying old freak? Qin Wentian speechlessly spoke. This was truly strange. Princess Kitamura was actually the last the old freak spoke of. Also, the soul techniques they cultivated originated from the same person. You also cultivate the soul techniques? What did that old freak give you? Princess Kitamura seriously asked, recalling some matters of the past. She also thought of this because of Qin Wentian's soul techniques. After all, Qin Wentian just exited the Dark North Immortal Mountain and stepped into the Immortal King realm. This was extremely similar to what she experienced back then. To think that you are really Princess Yuhuang. Seems like this is destined. Qin Wentian spoke. That undying old freak also bestowed a cultivation art to me before I left. He also told me that he once gave the death scripture to a lass. If I can meet her in the future, I will protect her well. The two of us would be a match made in heaven. Qin Wentian shamelessly boasted with a straight face, as though everything he said was the truth. In order to preserve his life, he wouldn't let go of any chance to get closer to Princess Kitamura. How could he not make good use of such fate? After speaking, Qin Wentian stared at Baiming Yuhuang with deep emotions in his eyes. Right now, Baiming Yuhuang's countenance could no longer be described with just the word unsightly. Her beautiful eyes flickered unceasingly as she stared fixedly at Qin Wentian. Do you think you can fool me with such nonsense? Qin Wentian stared at Princess Kitamura's eyes as his heart pounded. He could sense that Princess Kitamura was truly wavering. After cultivating the art of truth, Qin Wentian's senses were extremely sharp. Could it be that Princess Kitamura really believed his nonsense? Is this supreme beauty so easy to fool? Qin Wentian mused silently, but he was still as serious as ever. Yu Huang, luckily I didn't make a grave mistake. Everything is still not too late. Although my current strength is still a little weak, I will definitely catch up to you in the future. Although I might not be able to accomplish what that undying old freak told me to do and grow old together with you, at the very least, I would be able to fulfill the responsibility of protecting you. After all, although that undying old freak is a pervert, we are still master and disciple. I naturally have to obey his words. If that undying old freak in the forbidden ground of the Dark North Immortal Mountain heard Qin Wentian's sincere words, it was unknown if he would be so moved that he would cry bitterly. Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes flashed as she stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian braced himself and continued acting. Alright, I have no other choice. Yu Huang, I still have to imprison this wisp of your soul, allowing it to coexist with my true body. However, I won't harm you anymore. I hope you won't do anything that would make things difficult for me. As he spoke, Qin Wentian imprisoned a wisp of Princess Kitamura's soul into his soul prison before returning to his true body. Opening his eyes, a strange light flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. And in the princess palace, Princess Kitamura's true body had her beautiful eyes open, staring in the direction of Qin Wentian. Her gaze seemed to be able to penetrate through the void, and she naturally knew everything that happened earlier. After all, the wisp of her soul shared everything with her true body. That fellow was actually the successor of that old man. The words he said. A myriad of thoughts flashed through Princess Kitamura's mind. She had never encountered such a difficult matter before. Her heart was filled with countless thoughts. Chapter 1361. Under the night sky, Princess Kitamura finally calmed down and didn't come looking for trouble with Qin Wentian again. This caused Qin Wentian to heave a sigh of relief. Today was truly dangerous. This female ghost was powerful. She wanted his memories. Qin Wentian had no choice but to use all the methods he had, hoping that Princess Kitamura would understand and release him as soon as possible. After calming down, Qin Wentian immersed himself in his cultivation. A wisp of Princess Kitamura's soul was still trapped by him. He couldn't release it. Qin Wentian had no idea what Princess Kitamura was thinking in her heart. If he released her, she would act against him in a fit of anger. In the royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, there would be no path for him to escape even to the heavens. For several days, there was no movement from Princess Kitamura. Qin Wentian could relax and stay in the princess residence. He had no solution, he couldn't leave this place. In the princess residence of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, he didn't dare to open the spatial tunnel to the heavenly talisman realm. If he did so, he would be instantly discovered and the secret of the heavenly talisman realm would be exposed. Today, Bai Mingnongyue came to the princess residence of Princess Kitamura. She found Qin Wentian, and upon seeing that Qin Wentian was safe, she heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. My elder sis didn't do anything to you, right? Only to see that at this moment, Princess Kitamura's silhouette flashed and appeared here as well. Her countenance was as breathtaking as ever, but there was a hint of coldness to it. Qin Wentian exchanged a glance with her before he replied. No, I'm living very well here. Princess Yuhuang treats me very well, and our relationship is getting closer by the day. Bai Mingnongyue's eyes flashed as she stared at Qin Wentian in bewilderment. How could this be? Could this fellow have been threatened by her elder sister? Princess Yuhuang, am I right? Qin Wentian stared at Princess Kitamura as he spoke. You are right. Princess Kitamura spoke coldly. Bai Mingnongyue stared at the two of them, feeling a little strange. Qin Wentian, Jian's talent is good, and she has already become a disciple of an expert. Her father is also temporarily staying in the imperial city, and they told me to thank you. Bai Mingnongyue spoke. Qin Wentian had a smile on his face. Since Jian was able to break through to the immortal king realm in the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, her talent was naturally outstanding. It was only normal for her to be able to take on an expert as her master. Qin Wentian was happy for her. I should be the one thanking you. Qin Wentian smiled at Bai Mingnongyue. There's no need to thank me. Miss Jian is able to have such a good encounter because her talent is outstanding. If not, immortal emperors wouldn't accept disciples so easily and wouldn't give me the princess face. Elder sister is more suitable. Bai Mingnongyue glanced at Princess Kitamura and smiled. Elder sis, since you have such a good relationship with Qin Wentian, why don't you be friends? Why must you make things difficult for him? Both of you are geniuses at the peak of the immortal realms. In the future, Qin Wentian's achievements would also be on par with elder sis. If we can become good friends, wouldn't it be interesting? Nongyue, you are right. I am already good friends with your elder sister, and we have a mutual affinity. Qin Wentian smiled. Mutual affinity? Bai Mingnongyue started, staring at Qin Wentian. No, it's mutual affinity. We have a common interest in cultivation. and are both proficient in a certain type of energy. In fact, we even have a deep connection with each other. Qin Wentian spoke. Princess Kitamura had a cold expression on her face. She didn't say anything. Only her gaze that occasionally glanced at Qin Wentian was filled with coldness. Your subordinate has something to report to Princess. At this moment, a voice rang out from outside the Princess Kitamura's residence. There were no guards here, and without her permission, no one would be able to enter easily. If there was something, they would have to report it to Princess Kitamura first, and wait for Princess Kitamura's reply. Speak. Princess Kitamura turned her gaze over as she calmly spoke. Pei Qing came to the royal palace and wishes to meet with Princess. Right now he is heading here together with the princes. That person reported. Princess Kitamura's eyes flashed. Pei Qing, that arrogant fellow. Back then this Pei Qing has always been arrogant. Now that elder sister has broken through to the immortal emperor realm and broke his record, he still dares to come. Bai Mingnongyue didn't seem to like Pei Qing. Qin Wentian thought of a young man as coldness flashed in his eyes. Back then in the Forbidden Ground, only 3 of them survived. One of them was killed by Pei Qing because of a disagreement. This Pei Qing was the youngest immortal emperor in the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom before Princess Kitamura. He was the number 1 in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Right now, his record was broken by Princess Kitamura. What is he doing here? Princess Kitamura's expression was still as cold as before. Elder sister, do you still not know what Pei Qing wants to do? He simply thinks too highly of himself, believing that he, as the youngest immortal emperor, would be able to marry the number 1 beauty of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. But now, his title as the youngest immortal emperor has already been seized by elder sister. How would he still have the face to enter the royal palace? Bai Mingnongyue continued. Qin Wentian saw Bai Mingnongyue's attitude towards Pei Qing. He couldn't help but to ask, I've heard of this Pei Qing before. He is the youngest immortal emperor before Princess Yuhuang. But why is he able to enter the royal palace? The power of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom was extremely terrifying, even stronger compared to the Evergreen Kingdom. Even if Pei Qing was an immortal emperor, he shouldn't be able to enter the royal palace without any obstructions. With the title of the youngest immortal emperor in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, he would naturally be treated with respect no matter where he goes, even in our royal palace. After all, his accomplishments in the future would be extremely terrifying, let alone the fact that he is the disciple of an extremely powerful character, and has an extraordinary status. Bai Mingnongyue spoke. Qin Wentian instantly understood. Seems like there were some things in the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom that he wasn't clear about. That old man who came with him in the Forbidden Grounds clearly had no idea as well. Maybe he wouldn't be able to come into contact with people of this level. Not long after, a voice drifted over from outside. Princess Yuhuang, Pei Qing is here to pay a visit. Princess Kitamura frowned. However, the other party was already outside the residence. She then spoke, Come in. As the sound of her voice faded, the sound of wind whistling could be heard from outside. After that, a group of figures walked over. Other than Pei Qing, there were also a few of his followers. All of them were immortal kings. In addition, the prince who was at loggerheads with Bai Mingnongyue earlier was also among them. It seemed like he was the one who received Pei Qing. Yuhuang, it has been many years since we last met. You are even more radiant than before, exuding magnificence through the generations. As expected of the number 1 beauty of our dynasty. Pei Qing walked over in a carefree manner. A warm smile could be seen on his handsome face as he stared at Princess Kitamura. As for Bai Mingnongyue, who was beside Princess Kitamura, she was completely ignored by him. Even though she was a princess of the dynasty, Bai Mingnongyue was nothing in his eyes. This point was clear from the words he spoke to Qin Wentian back then in the Forbidden Grounds. What are you here for? Princess Kitamura was much colder, ignoring the other party's praise. Can't I come to visit you if there's nothing? I heard that you broke through to the immortal emperor realm and broke my record. I'm naturally happy for you. Pei Qing smiled. Is that true? Bai Mingnongyue smiled. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. She was very clear how arrogant this Pei Qing was. He had the title of being the top ranker in history, but now his title was snatched away by Princess Kitamura. Would he be happy? Pei Qing glanced at Bai Ming Nongyue as a proud smile appeared on his face. Naturally, only then would I not be lonely on my path of cultivation. I would be able to frequently exchange pointers with Yu Huang and discuss the martial Tao. My elder sis doesn't have the time for that. Bai Ming Nongyue mocked. Since when is it your turn to interfere in the matters of your elder sis? You should focus on your own cultivation first. Pei Qing laughed. After that, his gaze landed on Qin Wentian as he frowned. It was extremely rare for a man to enter Princess Kitamura's residence. But this man, he had seen him before. What qualifications did he have to appear here? Nongyue brought you here? Pei Qing stared at Qin Wentian. My elder sis invited him here. Bai Ming Nongyue wanted to anger Pei Qing. Pei Qing glanced at the prince beside him, and that prince replied. Nongyue was the one who brought him here. He has already stayed in the princess residence for several days. Pei Qing's expression turned unsightly. Qin Wentian had already stayed in Princess Kitamura's residence for several days? Back then in the dark North Immortal Mountain, I wasn't willing to bicker with an ant like you. But now you actually dare to step into this place? You don't know the immensity of death. Disappear from my sight immediately. Pei Qing didn't even glance at Qin Wentian. He coldly spoke, his tone containing no room for doubt, wanting Qin Wentian to disappear. Princess Kitamura frowned. Although she hated Qin Wentian, this was her residence. When did Pei Qing have the right to order her around? It was as though he was half the owner of this residence. Qin Wentian's expression turned cold. Although Pei Qing was an immortal emperor character, such an arrogant attitude was simply brazen to the extreme. What does this have to do with you? Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Princess Yu Huang, what qualifications does such a character have to appear in your residence? Pei Qing was polite to Princess Kitamura, but he was filled with disdain for Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with coldness. After that he coldly laughed and stood beside Princess Kitamura. Yu Huang, who is this fellow? He actually dares to interfere in our matters in your residence. He stared at Princess Kitamura with a gentle gaze. Princess Kitamura silently cursed at this fellow for being shameless to the extreme. However, Pei Qing's expression instantly turned incomparably sharp as he stared at Qin Wentian. Princess Yu Huang, what does he mean by this? Pei Qing stared at Princess Kitamura as he spoke. Bai Ming Yu Huang's expression turned even colder. Her mood was extremely unsightly. She was originally already unhappy with Qin Wentian, and now, there was another Pei Qing. Now, Pei Qing's tone was filled with interrogative intent, as though she didn't need his permission to do anything in her residence. This has nothing to do with you. If there's nothing else, I'm going to rest. Princess Kitamura coldly spoke, ordering him to leave. These words caused Pei Qing's heart to burn with rage. A mere ant actually dared to vie with him for a woman? He swept his gaze over to Qin Wentian as a powerful pressure gushed forth. He icily spoke, lowly human, wanting to taint the phoenix. You simply don't know what's good for you. Scram from my residence immediately, or I will make sure that you won't be able to see the stars tonight. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with coldness. Threatening him? Yu Huang told you to scram. Don't you understand? Qin Wentian stared at Pei Qing as he spoke. The youngest immortal emperor in history before Yu Huang? He should be the most shameless immortal emperor in history. Not only did he refuse to leave, he even dares to interfere in the matters between me and Yu Huang. Chapter 1362. Pei Qing stared at Qin Wentian as killing intent flickered in his emotionless eyes. Before he met Princess Kitamura, he was the youngest immortal emperor in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. No matter where he went, he would be respected by everyone. Even emperor-ranked powers would treat him with respect, and he could enter and exit the royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom freely. Even the Dark North Immortal Emperor viewed him in a different light. Nobody knew his future accomplishments. But at this moment, in Princess Kitamura's residence, A junior who popped out from nowhere actually dared to humiliate him in public, telling him to scram? I'll give you a chance to retract your words. If you kneel down and apologize to me, then scram from the princess residence. I can treat it as though nothing has happened. Pei Qing lost face in front of Princess Kitamura, and wanted nothing more than to kill Qin Wentian on the spot. However, this place was after all Princess Kitamura's residence. He still had to pay attention. Hence, telling Qin Wentian to kneel down and apologize before scram was undoubtedly the best choice. As for whether he would kill him or not after that. You don't understand human words? Do you need me to repeat it? Qin Wentian stared at Pei Qing. Since this is the case, let me repeat myself. This place is the royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, the residence of Yu Huang. Who do you think you are? Why are you pointing your fingers here? This fellow. Bai Mingnongyue stared at Qin Wentian. How audacious, acting so domineering even when facing Pei Qing. However, when she thought of how Qin Wentian's status wasn't lower than her, he naturally had the confidence to do so. Facing Pei Qing's humiliation. Could it be that he had to lower his head and obediently scram from here? Pei Qing's words were extremely unpleasant to the ears. If this place was Pei Qing's territory, maybe Qin Wentian would endure it. But this place was the royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Would Pei Qing really dare to kill him? Princess Kitamura and Bai Mingnongyue both didn't have a good impression of him. Who am I? Pei Qing suddenly laughed. His laughter was somewhat sinister. He glanced at the group of people around him, and all of them laughed as well. Although the record has been broken, Princess Yu Huang is still the youngest immortal emperor in history. You being able to stand before me and speak to me is your luck. Pei Qing spoke arrogantly. I've seen many shameless people, but this is the first time I've seen someone as shameless as you. You're praising yourself, yet you're still so proud of yourself. Qin Wentian laughed. First in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, and only temporarily. Dare I ask, how long have you been an immortal king, and how long have you been an emperor? 328 years to become an immortal king, 1,000 years to become an emperor. Pei Qing's eyes flashed with arrogance, filled with pride. Such a cultivation speed was truly terrifying. No wonder Qin Wentian could break the record of the Dark North immortal dynasty. He was truly powerful. Qin Wentian didn't come into contact with too many immortal kings and emperors, and he didn't have any concept of the cultivation time. But he knew that his senior brother Bai Wuxia broke through to the immortal king realm in over 1,000 years. Also, such a cultivation speed could already be considered extremely outstanding among the immortal kings of the 13 prefectures. However, this cultivation speed was still quite a distance away, when compared to the geniuses nurtured by the major powers. After all, other than their talent, these people had all sorts of external resources to support them. However, Pei Qing was able to break through to the immortal king realm in 300 years, and broke through to the immortal emperor realm in 1,000 years. No wonder this fellow was so arrogant and had nothing in his eyes. In addition, Bai Mingnongyue even said that he had an extremely powerful master. Pei Qing himself was an immortal emperor. Most probably his master was a peak-stage immortal emperor character like GD and ZD. Your memory is really clear. You are so proud of yourself, but sadly, you are flaunting at the wrong place. Leaving aside the fact that Bai Mingyuhuang broke your record, I Qin have ordinary talent and have cultivated for less than 200 years. Now I'm already at the immortal king realm. 328 years, how terrifying. Such a trash cultivation speed. And you still think you are number one under the heavens? I'm really envious of how thick your skin is. Qin Wentian mocked, not bothering to be polite at all. Pei Qing's eyes flashed, staring at Qin Wentian. After that, he coldly laughed. Broke through to the immortal king realm in less than 200 years? You can just say 100 years. How ridiculous. I didn't suspect you of making false reports. Yet you actually have the heart of a vile character. However, this is also in line with your personality. It's fine if you don't believe me. Why don't we make a bet, and invite the immortal emperors of the Dark North immortal dynasty to come here? If I'm over 200 years old, I will commit suicide in the royal palace of the Dark North immortal dynasty. If I'm not over 200 years old, You will kneel down and apologize and scram out of the royal palace, never to disturb Yu Huang ever again. Qin Wentian stared at Pei Qing, his eyes gleaming with coldness. Humiliating him? Using his pride to suppress him? The more this was done, the more his pride would be stimulated. An immortal emperor was an immortal emperor. Right now he was also at the immortal king realm. So what if he was inferior to an immortal emperor? He mustn't show any weakness. Right now he was the son-in-law of the Chongqing the Great, the personal disciple of the heavenly talisman realm lord, the saint lord of the battle saint tribe. How could he be humiliated by a young immortal emperor? As the sound of his voice rang out, his aura was truly imposing. It was impossible to tell the age of a cultivator with a single glance, but if an expert used their bone structure, they would be able to tell. Qin Wentian said that if he lied, he would commit suicide. If he didn't, Pei Qing would kneel down and apologize and scram out of the royal palace. Pei Qing narrowed his eyes. His expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He stared at Qin Wentian. He was actually placed in a difficult position. He clearly didn't dare to make this bet. If he lost, he would have to kneel and beg for mercy. How could that be possible? What do you have to compete with me? Do you have the qualifications to talk about a bet with me? Are you even worthy? Pei Qing mocked as he coldly spoke. You were the one who boasted about your cultivation speed. You were also the one who questioned me. Now that you don't dare to face me directly, you want to use your title as the top ranker in history to suppress me? I've already said that your cultivation speed isn't even worth mentioning in front of me. You are merely seeking your own humiliation, yet you still have the face to talk about qualifications? If I were you, I would scram out of the royal palace myself. I don't have the face to continue staying here. Qin Wentian spoke in disdain. Princess Kitamura stood at the side and didn't say anything. She silently mused that evil people needed to be tempered by evil people. This Pei Qing was incomparably arrogant. Now that he encountered Qin Wentian, he was both arrogant and shameless. Yet his cultivation speed was so terrifying that Pei Qing couldn't gain any advantage at all. Naturally, she wouldn't help Pei Qing. In truth, she also felt that Pei Qing was extremely annoying. Pei Qing's expression turned ashen. Given his status, he was humiliated time and time again. No matter how good his self-restraint was, he wouldn't be able to endure it. Coldness gushed forth from him as the pressure of an immortal emperor was compressed to a certain area, gushing towards Qin Wentian. What? Before this, you wanted to compare cultivation speed and talent. Now that you know you are inferior, you are angered from embarrassment and want to bully the weak? Although you look young, it wouldn't be too much for me to call you an old man. A person who has cultivated for 1,000 years came to pressure me. Is this the confidence and arrogance you are displaying? You still want to pursue Yu Huang? Are you even worthy? Qin Wentian's words were sharp, mocking Pei Qing until he was speechless. Yu Huang, how did you know such a shameless person? Qin Wentian stood beside Princess Kitamura, his gaze filled with gentleness when he stared at her. It felt like their relationship was extremely good, and they were a couple. Baiming Nongyue stood at the side. She completely didn't understand what was going on. Her elder sister and Qin Wentian, what was going on? Could it be that they really got along very well? Who is the shameless one exactly? Princess Kitamura silently cursed at Qin Wentian in her heart. However, she didn't expose Qin Wentian. She merely stood there calmly, causing Pei Qing to be even more embarrassed. Junior brother Jing. At this moment, Pei Qing suddenly spoke. A moment later, a young man with a sharp expression walked out. His eyes were cold and sharp as he stared at Qin Wentian. This young man was someone from Pei Qing's sect, and was Pei Qing's junior brother. His talent was outstanding, and although he wasn't as outstanding as Pei Qing, he would definitely be an extremely powerful genius in the eyes of ordinary people. If not, he wouldn't be able to be in the same sect as Pei Qing. However, there were only two people like Pei Qing in the history of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom. Him and Princess Kitamura. No matter how powerful a genius was, they still paled in comparison. Since you say that I'm bullying you, fine. Let's not talk about cultivation age for now. The speed of cultivation might not necessarily represent one's strength. There are some people who pursue speed but their strength is so weak that it's pitiful. My junior brother Jing is also at the Immortal King realm, and has only been at this level for tens of years. Why don't you spar with him? Pei Qing's expression was cold. Although it sounded nice to say that they were sparring, Qin Wentian understood that Pei Qing must have already sent a voice transmission to him, wanting his life. Since Pei Qing's killing intent had already been revealed, it wasn't strange for him to use the sparring partner to kill him. For someone of Pei Qing's status, there was nothing he wouldn't dare to do. Why should I spar with him? Qin Wentian suddenly spoke. Pei Qing started. Didn't you say that I'm bullying you because of my cultivation base? Now you don't dare to spar with someone at the same level as you? I don't dare, I just feel that he isn't worthy. In addition, I don't like the word sparring. A battle is a battle, death and injury are unavoidable. You are so shameless. If I kill him, wouldn't you use your immortal emperor strength to suppress me? Also, your sect might come looking for me to settle the debt. Although I'm not afraid, it would still be troublesome. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Since you put it this way, fine. Let's not spar, let's fight. If you can kill him, it means that you have the capability to do so. I won't pursue this matter. Pei Qing's expression was extremely cold. He was truly enraged by Qin Wentian. You are such a shameless person. Do you think I will believe you? Qin Wentian laughed. Pei Qing was an immortal emperor. He was so angered by Qin Wentian that his aura was in a frenzy. I guarantee that if you can kill junior brother Jing, my sect and I will definitely not find trouble with you. Pei Qing spoke again. I still don't believe you. Qin Wentian had a mocking smile on his face. He wasn't a 3-year-old kid. Such a guarantee basically had no credibility at all. What do you want then? Pei Qing asked. If he loses, you apologize to me and scram out of the royal palace. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. So simple. Fine, I promise you. Pei Qing was angered. How could he not agree to such a condition? He wanted Qin Wentian to die. His junior brother Jing had been in the Immortal King realm for over 90 years. 80 years could be considered several tens of years. He wasn't wrong. The last time he saw Qin Wentian was still at the Immortal Foundation realm. A genius who had been in the Immortal King realm for over 90 years against a character who just broke through. There was no need to even think about the ending. Yu Huang, if I win, I will chase this fellow away for you. Can I reward you with a kiss? Qin Wentian smiled as he stared at Princess Kitamura, angering her so much that killing intent flashed in her eyes. Princess Kitamura also coldly glanced at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian smiled. I'm just casually speaking. He wanted to anger Princess Kitamura and Pei Qing. This Princess Kitamura acted like she was watching a show. There was naturally no need to mention anything about Pei Qing. Chapter 1363. Pei Qing's junior apprentice brother was named Jing Yunhe. His talent was outstanding and he was a heaven-chosen Immortal King character. He had already been in the Immortal King realm for over 90 years, and had long stabilized his foundation. His combat prowess was extremely tyrannical. As for Qin Wentian, he had just broken through to the Immortal King realm. Most probably, his foundation wasn't stable yet, and he had only condensed a single law domain. Such a battle, Jing Yunhe felt that there was no suspense at all. Pei Qing wanted him to deal with Qin Wentian, because he felt that he overestimated Qin Wentian. Naturally, Pei Qing's purpose wasn't merely to defeat Qin Wentian. Before this, he had already received a voice transmission from Pei Qing, telling him to be ruthless and kill Qin Wentian. Pei Qing wanted to pursue Baiming Yuhuang. Everyone knew that this was the youngest immortal emperor in history. If he could obtain the #1 beauty of the Dark North immortal dynasty, his fame would surely soar even higher than before. Also, Pei Qing always felt that only a woman like Baiming Yuhuang was worthy of his talent. Baiming Yuhuang was originally a wife bestowed to him by the heavens. She was his exclusive property. Right now, Qin Wentian's words actually contained a hint of ambiguity. How could Pei Qing tolerate him? He could only kill him. The woman Pei Qing had his eyes on. How could he allow others to taint her? In addition, This person was an ant-like character that he had once looked down on. Someone who broke through to the immortal king realm by luck. Jing Yunhe stepped out, his brows furrowed as he stared at Qin Wentian with disdain. Scram the hell out. Qin Wentian stared at the arrogant expression on Jing Yunhe's face, as a faint smile appeared on his face. Princess Kitamura continued to watch quietly, as though this matter had nothing to do with her. Bai Ming Nongyue was filled with anticipation. Pei Qing and Princess Kitamura's understanding of Qin Wentian was naturally not as deep as hers. This fellow even dared to tease her elder sister, and even dared to humiliate Pei Qing. His guts were much greater than what she had imagined. As for his talent, Bai Ming Nongyue no longer doubted him. It was just that he had just broken through to the immortal king realm. Bai Ming Nongyue was actually filled with anticipation. This is the imperial palace. Don't let the battle spread too far. Princess Kitamura spoke. If a battle between immortal kings erupted without reservation, the shockwaves would definitely be extremely terrifying, sufficient to destroy a small city. There won't be much of a commotion. He doesn't have the qualifications. Jing Yunhe faintly spoke, filled with extreme self-confidence. Only when the two sides were evenly matched would there be no way to control the commotion. But he was confident that he could easily kill Qin Wentian and control the situation, preventing the commotion from spreading too far. In order to prevent the princess residence from being destroyed, I will cover the battlefield. Pei Qing calmly spoke. Princess Kitamura didn't say anything. If Pei Qing was willing to act, he would naturally be able to stop the aftershocks of the battle. Qin Wentian and Jing Yunhe soared into the air. Pei Qing waved his hands and instantly, a beam of astral light cascaded down from the sky, enveloping the princess residence. In an instant, the light from the constellations grew incomparably resplendent, causing many experts in the royal palace to soar over here. Astral resonance was a technique of immortal emperors. What happened in Princess Youhuang's residence? The immortal senses of many experts gushed over. After that, they saw the two experts enveloped by the astral light, Qin Wentian and Jing Yunhe, preventing the princess residence from being destroyed? Qin Wentian laughed. Most probably, this was to prevent him from fleeing or to prevent others from interfering, making it easier for Jing Yunhe to kill him. How could Pei Qing's methods be hidden from Qin Wentian's eyes? It was just that he didn't care because he wouldn't be defeated. I broke through to the immortal king realm earlier than you. I don't want to take advantage of you. You can make your move first. Jing Yunhe magnanimously spoke, as though he was the stronger one. There's no need to be polite, just make your move. Qin Wentian humbly spoke. There's no need. If I make my move, you won't have a chance anymore. Jing Yunhe spoke. Before this, they were at loggerheads with each other. Now that the battle was about to erupt, the two of them actually became more humble. Oh, since this is the case, I'll accept it then. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. The distance between the two of them was very close. At such a close distance, given the terrifying might of immortal kings, they would be able to reach each other in an instant. Qin Wentian's lips curled up in a strange arc. That smile caused Jing Yunhe to frown. Qin Wentian's gaze felt somewhat evil, as though he was toying with him. Truly not knowing the immensity of death, Jing Yunhe coldly laughed in his heart. His aura erupted forth as he released his law domain. In an instant, blazing flames rose up into the sky, revolving around him. Within the flames, the shadow of a magma fire king could be seen, terrifying to the extreme. Not making the first move didn't mean that he wouldn't defend. In order to avoid unexpected mishaps, Jing Yunhe decided to be more cautious. Boom. Qin Wentian stepped out. In just an instant, a divine glow radiated from him, circulating around him unceasingly. With every step he took, the heavens and earth seemed to tremble. That terrifying body of his flowed with a fearsome devilish intent of destruction. His body directly moved towards the core of his opponent's law domain, stepping into the blazing flames, into the silhouette of the magma fire king. An immortal king could form an immortal body of laws and establish a law domain. The strongest aspect of an immortal king's law domain was the body. The closer one got to the body, the stronger the law domain would be. This was the reason why it was so hard for immortal kings to die. Even if you were stronger than your opponent, the closer you got to your opponent, the stronger your opponent's defense would be. Even if you couldn't win, you could always flee. Very few immortal kings would directly use their immortal body of laws to enter the absolute domain of their opponent. This was a type of risk. If one fell into the domain, they would surely die. But Qin Wentian did so. His actions were simply laughable in Pei Qing's eyes. Fool, as expected of an ant that just stepped into the immortal king realm. He doesn't even know the taboo of immortal kings. I'm afraid he doesn't have any combat experience, and is simply courting death. Pei Qing felt that his precautions were unnecessary. This Qin Wentian was simply courting death. Jing Yunhe had a mocking expression on his face when he saw Qin Wentian's actions. He released his law domain to the maximum and blasted out with his palms. In an instant, the entire law domain trembled violently as numerous magma fire kings blasted towards Qin Wentian, wanting to engulf Qin Wentian completely. Boom! At this instant, Qin Wentian released his law domain. He walked into the domain of his opponent and unleashed his own law domain. Such an action was simply arrogant to the extreme. However, at the instant his law domain was released, everything in the surroundings was instantly destroyed. That terrifying devil might enveloped Jing Yunhe, causing his entire body to turn cold as a look of terror appeared on his countenance. As his countenance paled, how can his law domain be so powerful? A thought flashed through Jing Yunhe's mind. Qin Wentian naturally wasn't courting death. His immortal body of laws was the strongest point of his law domain. Hence, there was another possibility for him to enter the core of his opponent's law domain. Other than courting death without any combat experience. That was, he had absolute confidence that he would be able to suppress his opponent with his law domain. Qin Wentian clearly belonged to the latter. In an instant, Jing Yunhe only felt his law domain collapsing. He sank deep into the devil energy as a gigantic palm of darkness enveloped him. It felt like as long as this palm of darkness closed in, the only thing waiting for him would be death. Jing Yunhe's body involuntarily trembled. Why the need to be the scapegoat for him? Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. After which, numerous palm imprints blasted downwards, causing rumbling sounds to echo out unceasingly. Jing Yunhe's countenance turned ashen as he coughed out blood unceasingly. Enough! An explosive roar rang out. It was Pei Qing. His expression was extremely unsightly to behold. Jing Yunhe was actually insta-defeated by Qin Wentian, unable to even withstand a single strike. This was simply a humiliation. Boom! Another heavy strike blasted out. Qin Wentian stomped on the Jing Yunhe's body. And just like that, he kicked the Jing Yunhe towards Pei Qing. Complete victory. Qin Wentian didn't kill Jing Yunhe. He knew that Jing Yunhe wanted to kill him, but he didn't kill him. His gaze was fixed on Pei Qing as he spoke. Are you satisfied now? Now you can just apologize and scram. Pei Qing stared at Qin Wentian as he coldly spoke. It's better to know your own limits. If not, you wouldn't even know how you died. He wanted him to apologize to Qin Wentian? Qin Wentian stared at Pei Qing in bewilderment, feeling somewhat speechless. Although I know you are shameless, I didn't expect you to be shameless to such an extent. This is also the reason why I couldn't be bothered to fight against him earlier. If I killed him, you would have to act and your sect would take revenge. Your so-called promise is nothing but a fart because you believed that it was impossible for you to lose. But the truth seems to have proven my words. Now he was defeated but I didn't kill him. I told you to apologize and scram, but you refused to admit it in front of me and Bai Mingyu Huang. You even dare to threaten me here? The youngest immortal emperor in history? Can you be more shameless than this? Pei Qing, big sister has seen it all. You're really quick to go back on your word. Bai Mingyue felt extremely refreshed as she mocked. Today, Qin Wentian helped her to vent her anger. Pei Qing radiated a terrifying coldness as he coldly stared at Qin Wentian. Do you think that I won't be able to kill you because you are standing in the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom? But if I really want your life, do you think you can survive? Can you hide in the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom forever? Pei Qing coldly spoke. Let me ask you again. Are you sure you want me to apologize? What a joke. Qin Wentian didn't show any signs of weakness as he stared at Pei Qing. Could it be that you didn't have any killing intent towards me before, and didn't order your junior brother to kill me? You have humiliated me time and time again. First, you competed in cultivation speed, and when you failed, you competed in combat strength. In the end, you even used your status to suppress me. How ridiculous. Pei Qing, let me warn you. I have many enemies and there are also many immortal emperors who want to kill me. It doesn't matter if you are one more. I didn't kill your junior brother, because I don't dare to. It's just that I don't want to antagonize your sect. It's not that I care about you. If you want to kill me, you better know who I am first. Can you, Pei Qing, bear the price of killing me? Qin Wentian's robes fluttered in the wind. His voice was cold and domineering. He changed his attitude and icily spoke. Right now, my cultivation base is still weak, and I don't want to kill your junior brother. I don't want to antagonize your sect because I have too many enemies. One day, when I break through to the immortal emperor realm, it means that not only you, I don't care about your sect anymore. Chapter 1364. Qin Wentian stared at Pei Qing as he domineeringly spoke. He wasn't willing to make strong enemies, but as his cultivation base grew stronger, the status of the people he interacted with would also rise. It was inevitable that he would have conflicts with some people. Back then in the Forbidden Ground was the first time, and this time in the Royal Palace was the second time. If he wanted to endure, there was only one path left for him. When Pei Qing told him to scram, he would scram with his tail between his legs. However, this clearly didn't conform to his personality. Hence, Pei Qing could only offend Qin Wentian. Since he was destined to offend Qin Wentian, there was no need for him to hold back. This was the same as Princess Kitamura. When Princess Kitamura imprisoned him and wanted to pry into his memories, he would do everything in his power to prevent this from happening. Unless he was willing to hand over his memories, he could only resist. He had many enemies, and there were already immortal emperors who wanted him dead. He didn't want to antagonize Pei Qing's sect, hence he didn't kill Pei Qing's junior apprentice brother. But just the conflict between him and Pei Qing wasn't enough to implicate the background of his sect. Qin Wentian's domineering words clearly had a certain degree of intimidation. This was the first time Pei Qing was seriously scrutinizing this young man before him. This young man had just broken through to the Immortal King realm, and already had such powerful combat prowess. Also, he was friends with Baiming Nongyue in the royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, and was even staying in Princess Kitamura's residence. Their relationship seemed to be somewhat ambiguous. Pei Qing looked down on Qin Wentian. It wasn't that he didn't think that Qin Wentian might have some background. It was because he was simply too outstanding, and in addition, Qin Wentian's cultivation base couldn't be compared to him who was at the Immortal Foundation realm. This was especially so when they first met, and Qin Wentian was merely at the Immortal Foundation realm. Such a preconceived notion, as well as his pride, caused him to look down on Qin Wentian. But when Qin Wentian defeated his junior apprentice brother, and dared to say such domineering words, he couldn't help but to consider what sort of character Qin Wentian was exactly. Naturally, no matter what sort of character Qin Wentian was up until now, he had only just broken through to the Immortal King realm. The so-called background wasn't that important to Qin Wentian, who had already stepped into the Immortal Emperor realm, because he still firmly believed that in the future, he would become a character that stood at the peak of the Immortal Realms. Very arrogant. You are the first person to be so arrogant in front of me. Pei Qing was silent for a moment before he smiled. In that case, I would like to ask, who are you? My name is Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian spoke, not saying anything more. He also understood that the so-called background was nothing more than an illusion. Only one's own strength could represent everything. However, there was no need for him to lower his head in front of a young immortal emperor, who felt that he was infallible. If he really had to introduce his background, Qin Wentian himself did not know how to do it. The disciple of the Emperor Qianbian of the Immortal Qianbian Gate? A disciple of the Heavenly Talisman Realm? The son-in-law of the Chongqing the Great? The Saint Lord of the Battle Saint Tribe? or the inheritor of the myriad devil sovereign. And many of these identities were meaningless. In fact, they couldn't even be said out loud. On the surface, the only two identities he had were the son-in-law of the Chongqing the Great, and the disciple of the immortal Qianbian Gate. We will meet again in the future. Pei Qing stared at Qin Wentian. His eyes were as proud as ever. Qin Wentian, he would remember this name. Also, given his capabilities, he would soon know who was behind this name. Yu Huang, I will come and visit you another day. Pei Qing spoke to Princess Kitamura before he turned and departed. You haven't apologized yet. Qin Wentian smiled. Pei Qing coldly snorted and flicked his sleeves as he departed. That prince cast a deep glance at Qin Wentian before he left the princess residence. Very swiftly, this place quietened down again. Only Qin Wentian, Princess Kitamura and Baiming Nongyue remained. Humans are all the same. When they feel that they are infallible, the majority of their promises would never be fulfilled. It's no different from farting. But earlier, they would speak with such decisiveness, as though they would definitely do what they said. Regardless of immortal emperors or immortal kings, there's no difference in this aspect. Qin Wentian silently shook his head. Humans are all like this. If you are strong enough, you can use absolute strength to intimidate them, forcing them to fulfill their promises. If you don't have such strength, they naturally wouldn't be able to fulfill their promises. Baiming Nongyue smiled as she stared at Qin Wentian. After that, she glanced at Princess Kitamura. Elder sis, seems like your relationship with Qin Wentian isn't bad. Seems like I'm thinking too much. I won't disturb the two of you any longer. As she spoke, Baiming Nongyue also left with a mischievous look on her face. Although she didn't really think in this direction, after seeing how powerful Qin Wentian was, she still felt that she had underestimated him. No matter which aspect one looked at him from, he was so outstanding, including his shamelessness. Such a powerful and shameless person should be able to deal with her elder sister, who was wholeheartedly focused on cultivation. Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes flashed. Nongyue's words were truly ridiculous. Her cold and beautiful eyes turned to Qin Wentian. Her impression of Qin Wentian changed greatly. That old fellow wanted to meet him, and even impart a soul cultivation art to him. There was indeed a reason behind it. Jing Yunhe's strength definitely couldn't be considered weak. Being able to become the junior apprentice brother of Pei Qing, he could be considered a heaven chosen among immortal kings. However, he who had been at the immortal king realm for so many years couldn't even withstand a single strike from Qin Wentian. From this, one could see how outstanding Qin Wentian's combat prowess was. Yu Huang, I've chased him away for you. Don't you want a reward? Qin Wentian stared at Princess Kitamura, but he only saw coldness in her eyes. Qin Wentian smiled. That old fellow wanted me to protect you. I'm only doing my part, you don't have to mind it too much. There's no need for a reward. It's just that I still have something I need to do in the eastern regions. It doesn't seem to be a good thing for you to keep me trapped here, right? What did that old fellow give you? Princess Kitamura asked again. A cultivation art that complements your death scripture. However, Yu Huang, you still want to seize my memories. I can't tell you. Qin Wentian spoke. Just leave. Princess Kitamura suddenly spoke, her words causing Qin Wentian to start. This Princess Kitamura was really going to let him leave just like that? This caused Qin Wentian to feel somewhat bewildered. He wanted to slowly grind things out, but an instant later, he smiled and spoke in a gentle voice. Seems like Yu Huang has thought things through. In the future, if I have time, I will come and visit you again. Before I change my mind, you better scram quickly. Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes were extremely cold. After being teased by this bastard time and time again, there was a limit to her patience. Okay. Qin Wentian smiled. His silhouette flashed as he flew out. In the air, he turned his head and spoke to Princess Kitamura. Yu Huang, after I leave, I will naturally release that soul wisp. We will meet again in the future. Qin Wentian spoke as he flew towards Baiming Nongyue's residence. When Baiming Nongyue saw Qin Wentian, she immediately welcomed him with a smile. Did elder sister release you? Your elder sister's temper is truly great. I'm preparing to bid farewell. Where's Li Yufeng? Qin Wentian asked. He's outside the royal palace. Bai Mingnongyue spoke. Let me bring you to him. There's no need, I've already wasted some time here. Help me pass a message to him that I'm leaving now. Qin Wentian smiled. It was true that he was in a hurry to return. He didn't know what the situation in the eastern regions was like. Okay, I won't urge you to stay then. Do you need to borrow the teleportation array? Bai Mingnongyue asked. No need, I naturally have a way to return. Qin Wentian spoke. What other method could be faster than using the heavenly talisman realm to teleport? Okay, let me send you out of the royal palace. Bai Mingnongyue smiled as she soared into the air. Qin Wentian nodded. The two of them flew together. In the royal palace, many people were staring at Qin Wentian, feeling bewildered. This fellow's combat prowess was so strong, he actually forced Pei Qing to retreat in defeat. His talent in cultivation was also shocking. He was someone worthy of befriending the princess. After exiting the royal palace of the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom, Bai Mingnongyue smiled. I hope you can marry Princess Qing soon. Li Yufeng and I will go to the wedding banquet. Let's hope so. Qin Wentian smiled. He clasped his hands. Farewell. As he spoke, he stepped out. His immortal sense stretched out into the horizons, enveloping a vast space. Although Pei Qing retreated, who knew if he still had killing intent hidden outside? Although the possibility wasn't high, it was better to be more cautious. Within his immortal sense, he couldn't find any traces of Pei Qing and the others. He found an uninhabited place and headed there, opening up a spatial passageway leading to the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Back then when he entered the Heavenly Talisman Realm, he opened up a spatial passageway from the immortal Qianbian Gate. But when he exited, he was sent to the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom by a senior from the Heavenly Talisman Realm. This meant that after he entered the Heavenly Talisman Realm this time around, there were 2 exits he could exit from. Right now, the other exit he entered was the exit leading to the immortal Qianbian Gate. He discovered that if he allowed his senior to escort him a few more times, he would be able to use the Heavenly Talisman Realm to traverse the vast immortal realms in the shortest amount of time. This was the heaven-defying aspect of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. In the immortal Qianbian Gate, Qin Wentian's silhouette directly appeared at the place where he was in closed-door seclusion. The journey from the Hokage Sengoku Kingdom to the immortal Qianbian Gate was actually completed in such a short period of time. This caused Qin Wentian to sigh in admiration. With a flash of his silhouette, Qin Wentian entered his own residence. Some of the people in his residence went out to temper themselves. Some were sent away by Qin Wentian for cultivation. Even Little Rascal and Purgatory were sent to the desolate 10,000 mountain range in the extreme north of the immortal realms. Qin Wentian had no idea how they were doing now. Extending his immortal sense into the distance, Qin Wentian stepped out, heading towards the Emperor Lord's residence to greet him. The person who came to receive him was the Taishan Immortal King, but he discovered that the Emperor Lord Qianbian was actually not here. Taishan Immortal King, how's the situation? Qin Wentian asked. Right now, the Dongshengshan Gate has truly started an all-out war against us. Out of the 6 prefectures, 2 have already fallen and were seized back by the Dongshengshan Gate. We have already retreated to the other 4 prefectures. The Taishan Immortal King spoke, his words causing Qin Wentian to understand the severity of the situation. The emperor-ranked war back then caused too many commotion. Right now, the Dongshengshan Gate has finally launched an all-out war. Other than immortal emperors who didn't participate, many immortal kings from their armies participated as well. Comparing the foundations of both sides, the Dongshengshan Gate was naturally stronger. Hence, Qin Wentian was no exception. Luckily, there's another piece of good news. Back then when he was cultivating in the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Bai Wuya broke through to the Immortal Emperor realm. Right now, our Immortal Qianbian Gate has 2 Immortal Emperors. Immortal Emperor Bai Wuya has also entered closed-door seclusion to stabilize his cultivation base. The Taishan Immortal King spoke. Qin Wentian started, but a smile soon appeared on his face. I want to make a trip to the southern regions. Qin Wentian spoke. After breaking through to the Immortal King realm, it was about time for him to make a trip to the Battle Saint tribe. Chapter 1365. The southern regions of the Immortal Realm still belonged to the three ancient clans. This was something that wouldn't change in a short period of time. The tyrannical Ing clan, the Namhuang clan ruled by the Southern Phoenix matriarch, and the mysterious and powerful Jiang clan. These three ancient clans were all incomparably powerful, their influence sweeping through the entire southern regions. Although there were still some immortal emperor-ranked powers in the southern regions, they had no way to shake the position of the three ancient clans. The last time Qin Wentian came to the southern Phoenix Immortal City, he was still weak. At that time, he was invited by Namhuang Yunxi to the Namhuang clan to aid her in seizing the position of the holy successor of the Namhuang clan. Not only that, he didn't disappoint this trip. Right now, walking into the ancient city of the Namhuang clan again, Qin Wentian couldn't help but to think of Namhuang Yunxi. He wondered how her cultivation was now. The Namhuang clan was able to form an alliance with the immortal Qianbian Gate and the Evergreen Kingdom. Back then when the emperor-ranked war erupted, although he was there to mediate, the core of the alliance was still Namhuang Yunxi. Qin Wentian had always treated her as a good friend, going through life and death situations together. Hence, this time when he came to the southern Phoenix Immortal City, no matter what, Qin Wentian had to pay a visit to Namhuang Yunxi first, and pay a visit to the Namhuang clan. After all, he still needed to borrow the strength of the Namhuang clan in the future. Outside the Namhuang clan, after Qin Wentian reported his name, there were people who came to welcome him. Upon seeing the woman in the lead, Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with a warm smile. Namfeng Xinge was like Jiyin. She was a beauty from a painting, gentle like water, and loved music. Sir Qin, it has been many years since we last met. You are still as graceful as ever. Namfeng Xinge smiled. After that, she winked at Qin Wentian, exuding a hint of mischievousness. Amidst her gentleness, there were hints of quick-witted beauty, and she was extremely intelligent. She was different from Jiyin. Jiyin was a beauty who didn't like worldly affairs, while Namfeng Xinge was a natural and unrestrained person, causing people to feel as though they were bathing in the spring breeze. Xinge, you're getting more and more beautiful, Qin Wentian said with a smile. As a beauty's cultivation level increased, their temperament would constantly change. Their skin would become more crystalline and translucent. It was true that they would grow in reverse and become more beautiful. Sir Qin, please don't tease me. When I heard that you came to the Jiyue Palace, I immediately received the news. Yunxi is currently cultivating, and I can only come here to welcome you. Let's head to the Jiyue Palace now. I wonder when Yunxi will finish her cultivation. If she can't, I will wake her up. Namfeng Xinge smiled as she spoke. After that, she led Qin Wentian forward. There's no need for that. What if Yunxi is at a critical juncture in her cultivation? I will pay my respects to Senior Lone Swan and leave after that. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. That won't do. Sir Qin, you came to the Namhuang clan. If Yunxi learns that you left before I woke her up, she would surely blame me. Namfeng Xinge shook her head and smiled. Let alone the fact that her cultivation this time isn't a death seclusion. It won't affect her. You better control yourself well. If not, if Yunxi's cultivation is delayed, that would be my sin. Qin Wentian bitterly smiled and shook his head when he heard Namfeng Xinge's words. Don't worry. If it's really an important seclusion, I won't wake her up. Namfeng Xinge spoke in a light voice. She was the holy protector of Namhuang Yunxi. Right now, she naturally had to consider Namhuang Yunxi. The Clear Moon Palace was the cultivation palace of Namhuang Yunxi in the past. Because the Namhuang clan had high hopes for Namhuang Yunxi, they bestowed this palace to Namhuang Yunxi. Qin Wentian came to the Clear Moon Palace and saw some familiar faces. These were the holy protector of Namhuang Yunxi, as well as the other maidens who fought for the position of the holy successor. However, other than Qin Wentian, who was more familiar with Namfeng Xinge, he wasn't familiar with the others. You should rest here. I will go call Yunxi. Namfeng Xinge led Qin Wentian to a place to rest before she departed. Qin Wentian quietly waited. Not long after, Nam Huang Yunxi and Nam Feng Xinga appeared before him. Qin Wentian stared at the two beauties before him. Nam Huang Yunxi was elegant and dignified, with a smile in her eyes. Nam Feng Xinga was as pure as a painting. When the two of them stood together, it was truly a feast for the eyes. Have you seen enough? Nam Huang Yunxi glared at Qin Wentian. Upon seeing the look in Nam Huang Yunxi's eyes, Qin Wentian laughed. Yunxi, you are getting more and more interesting. With two great beauties standing before me, I naturally can't help but take a few more glances. Are they as beautiful as Qing'er and Qingqing? Nam Huang Yunxi's eyes flickered with a mischievous smile. Qin Wentian started. Seems like Nam Huang Yunxi was in a very good mood. Each has their own merits. Each has their own merits. Qin Wentian smiled. Why do you have the time to come to the Nam Huang clan? Nam Huang Yunxi didn't linger on this topic and directly asked. I have something I need to do in the southern regions. It has been so many years since we last met, and I decided to pay a visit to you, as well as pay a visit to Senior Namfeng Guhong. Qin Wentian smiled. Among the major characters of the Nam Huang clan, he was only more familiar with one of the protectors of the Southern Phoenix matriarch, Namfeng Guhong. Naturally, he would pay a visit to her. Do you want to rest in the Nam Huang clan for a period of time? I'll make the arrangements. Nam Huang Yunxi asked. No need, I'm in a rush. Right now, the situation in the eastern regions is rather tense. Seeing that you are doing well, I'll pay a visit to Senior Guhong to express my sincerity. Qin Wentian spoke in a light voice. Yunxi, accompany me to pay a visit to Senior Guhong. After that, I will leave immediately. So urgent? Nam Huang Yunxi started. That's right. It wasn't easy for Sir Qin to come here. Why are you in such a rush to leave? Namfeng Xinga persuaded. The immortal Qianbian Gate has a teleportation array that leads directly to this city. The Evergreen Kingdo Palace is also connected to the Nam Huang clan. In the future, if I come here often to disturb you, you two beauties better not dislike me. Qin Wentian joked. Yunxi will definitely be happy. Namfeng Xinga laughed, her words causing Nam Huang Yunxi to glare at her. This lass actually dared to say such words? Since this is the case, let's go. Xinga, you come with me. Nam Huang Yunxi spoke. Namfeng Xinga nodded lightly. She was already the left and right arm of Nam Huang Yunxi. Among the many holy maidens of Nam Huang Yunxi, her cultivation speed was the fastest and her talent was the best. Namfeng Guhong was somewhat taken aback by the arrival of Qin Wentian. After the adjudication battle, there was an assassination attempt on Qin Wentian in the Evergreen Kingdom. After that, there were rumors that Qin Wentian was in closed-door seclusion and hadn't appeared for over 10 years. Who would have thought that he would suddenly appear in the Nam Huang clan? Wentian pays my respects to Senior Guhong. Qin Wentian bowed slightly. Namfeng Guhong stared at Qin Wentian as her eyes gleamed with sharpness. A tyrannical immortal sense enveloped Qin Wentian and gushed out frenziedly. You actually broke through to the immortal king realm. Namfeng Guhong was somewhat shocked. How long has it been since he started cultivating? He just stepped into the 9th level of Immortal Foundation during the adjudication battle. Breaking through after 10+ years? Back then when Qin Wentian first came to the Nam Huang clan, he was at the same level as Nam Huang Yunxi, at the 1st level of Immortal Foundation. How many years has it been since then? To think that he actually broke through to the Immortal King realm. Such a cultivation speed was simply terrifying. Nam Huang Yunxi and Namfeng Xinga also stared at Qin Wentian in shock. Before this, they already faintly sensed that Qin Wentian had undergone a slight transformation. But with their cultivation bases, they weren't able to tell too much. Right now, when they heard Namfeng Guhong's words, their hearts were filled with shock. Qin Wentian was actually already an immortal king. This fellow was simply unbelievable. I was lucky and had some good fortune. Qin Wentian spoke. The trip to the Dark North Immortal Mountain was truly an opportunity for him. Not only that, he didn't die after entering the Forbidden Ground, and was forced by that undying old freak. Seems like you weren't in closed-door seclusion like the rumors say. You actually went out to roam the immortal realms. You actually managed to hide your actions from so many people. Most probably, you have already left the eastern regions of the immortal realms." Namfeng Guhong smiled, but she felt some shock in her heart. Back then, this young man was at the same cultivation level as Namhuang Yunxi. In fact, according to Namhuang Yunxi, when they met in the city of ancient emperors, he was only at the 7th level of celestial phenomenon. If this was the case, Qin Wentian's cultivation speed was simply heaven-defying. Now, he definitely wouldn't have cultivated for more than 200 years. Also, what was even more interesting was that there were many people around him whose cultivation speed was extremely fast as well. It was as though cultivation could infect one another. An example was Namhuang Yunxi. All of them rose up after they got acquainted with Qin Wentian, and gradually became the leading characters of their generation. Does the Namhuang clan need help with anything this time around? Namfeng Guhong didn't ask too much, but in her heart, she felt that this young man was someone worthy of the Namhuang clan's friendship. The appearance of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, the servant of ancient Emperor Emperor Yu, displayed his shocking prowess. The eastern regions of the immortal realms were in a state of chaos, and the demon races of the western regions were also stirring. Among the 3 great clans of the southern regions, the Jiang clan had produced a batch of outstanding geniuses, and the Ying clan was even more aggressive. From many angles of view, the immortal realms were about to welcome a new era of chaos. Although Qin Wentian wasn't of much use now, he was already able to influence the situation in the eastern regions. In order to protect him, many peak powers appeared and emperor-ranked battles erupted. And given his potential, he would definitely be able to shine brilliantly in the immortal realms in the future. Under such circumstances, Namfeng Guhong felt that if he could really become one of the ancient emperors in the future, the relationship between him and the Namhuang clan would definitely affect the future of the Namhuang clan. There's no need. This time around, I came here because I wanted to pay a visit to Senior, and also pay a visit to Yunxi and Shenga. After that, I will be leaving. Qin Wentian shook his head and smiled. There's one more thing. Qin Wentian will always remember the kindness the Namhuang clan has shown me. I will definitely repay it in the future. Although these words were said out of courtesy, it was extremely important to Qin Wentian and the Namhuang clan. Why would the Namhuang clan want to help him? Was it because of his relationship with Namhuang Yunxi? This was already proven before. Hence, he needed to let the Namhuang clan know that he would remember all the things the Namhuang clan has done for him. In addition to the fact that he broke through to the immortal king realm so quickly, these words of his had more weight to them. There's no need to be so polite. The Namhuang clan will always be your friend. Namfeng Guhong calmly spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. After meeting Senior and Yunxi, my wish has been fulfilled. I will bid my farewell now. Yunxi send Wentian off. Namfeng Guhong spoke. Namhuang Yunxi nodded. She and Namfeng Shenga went to send them off and didn't try to persuade him to stay. Since Qin Wentian had decided to leave, he must have something important to do. He wouldn't stay here any longer. After they left, many people appeared in the Great Hall. Qin Wentian knew of their existence, but he didn't hide anything from them. That young man actually broke through to the immortal king realm so quickly. His potential is truly terrifying. Indeed. No wonder the Chongqing the Great would betroth his daughter to him. The Emperor Qianbian also did his best to support him. Also, that mysterious Emperor Yu interfered. Most probably, it's all because of this young man. What should we do? Someone glanced at Namfeng Guhong. In the future, the Namhuang clan will support him even more. Namfeng Guhong spoke. We have to pay attention to the movements in the eastern regions. For the sake of a junior, they might have to face many powerful enemies. To the Namhuang clan, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Someone asked in a low voice. The great rock soars with the wind, soaring 90,000 miles into the sky. Namfeng Guhong's silhouette flashed, leaving behind a sentence as she vanished. The eyes of everyone gleamed with sharpness. Seems like Namfeng Guhong was extremely optimistic about Qin Wentian. Once he soared into the sky, he would be able to soar into the heavens. Chapter 1366. In the God Hand Mountain Manor, silence reigned. Long ago, Emperor Yu had already dismissed everyone in the manor. When Qin Wentian arrived at the manor, his immortal sense enveloped the entire space. After that, a smile appeared in his eyes. Within his immortal sense, a figure could be seen standing on an ancient mountain peak. It was none other than Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu opened his eyes and transmitted his voice. The ancient mountain has opened. You can enter now. Many thanks, Senior. Qin Wentian politely replied. Although he already knew that Emperor Yu was someone from the Battle Saint tribe, Emperor Yu was still a subordinate of the previous Saint Lord, Ancient Emperor Yi. His cultivation base was also extremely tyrannical. No matter what, Qin Wentian still had to show respect to him. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, he directly flew towards the ancient mountain. The ancient mountain was the same as before. There was a mysterious and unfathomable will within. The stronger one was, the more terrifying the will would be. Qin Wentian guessed that there was a high possibility that this was left behind by an ancient emperor. Hence, he was filled with anticipation. Back then, Zidi was a peak-stage immortal emperor, but he had no way to forcibly enter. From this, one could very well imagine how terrifying ancient emperors were. There was a high possibility that ancient emperors had already reached another level. Qin Wentian had cultivated God's hand for many years. He naturally wouldn't be affected by the ancient mountain. He easily passed through the layers of obstacles and entered the old residence of ancient Emperor Yi, a place guarded by greater demons. Qin Wentian didn't wake these greater demons. He silently continued forward and came before the 3 bronze gates. Right now he had 2 choices. He could enter from the second gate, or he could enter from the first gate. After that, he could use his Immortal King cultivation base to break through the restrictions of the first world and enter the second world. According to the words of the Battle Saint tribe back then, Immortal Kings were able to enter the second world. Let's go to the first world to take a look. Qin Wentian soon made a decision. Back then when he was in the first world, he already knew of the existence of the Battle Saint tribe. Now that he has returned, he should go and take a look no matter what. Qin Wentian opened the first bronze gate and entered. In the Battle Saint tribe, when Qin Wentian appeared, Qi Donglu and the others had already come to welcome him. They bowed and greeted, Saint Lord. Qi Donglu was filled with bewilderment. He didn't know why Qin Wentian would return to the Battle Saint tribe at this moment. Could it be that something happened to the disciples of the Battle Saint tribe in the outside world? He couldn't help but reveal a worried expression when he thought of this. Qida and the others have all gone to train and cultivate. Qin Wentian seemed to understand Qi Donglio's worry. He then spoke. The reason I came to the Battle Saint tribe is because I'm preparing to head to the second world. I came to visit you guys on the way. Sacred Master has entered the King realm? Qi Donglu had a look of shock on his face. This cultivation speed was simply too terrifying. Back then when the Saint Lord came here, he was only at the initial stage of Immortal Foundation. MHM. Qin Wentian nodded lightly. Qi Donglu was somewhat agitated. The stronger the Saint Lords of each generation, the more hope their Battle Saint tribe would have. According to the words of their ancestor, although their enemies weren't in the Azure Mystic Immortal realms, they were extremely powerful. This was why they chose to hide in this independent world, passing down their inheritance to the next generation, not daring to let the Battle Saint tribe's legacy end. At the same time, many geniuses followed the Saint Lord out to battle, hoping that there would be a day when they could stand at the peak of the astral rivers once again. Do you understand the situation in the second world? Qin Wentian asked Qi Donglu. The 3 worlds were an independent world. Although the members of the Battle Saint tribe in the first world were very cooperative with him, the Saint Lord, the stronger a character was, the more arrogant they would be. The members of the Battle Saint tribe in the second world were all at the Immortal King realm, and there might even be many peak-stage Immortal Kings among them. If he wanted these people to listen to him, he didn't know if things would be as smooth as in the first world. I don't understand. It's unknown how many years have passed since the previous Saint Lord came here. This first world has experienced generations after generations, and I have no idea what happened during these years. However, what I can be sure of is that in the second world, there should be more experts from the Battle Saint tribe compared to the first world. They might have given birth to more descendants of the Battle Saint tribe in the second world, and there would surely be some who have awakened their sacred bone. Qi Donglu spoke. The second world should be able to provide Saint Lord with great assistance. MHM. Qin Wentian nodded lightly. Given his current cultivation base and background, ordinary assistance wouldn't be of much help to him. Naturally, the difference between the Battle Saint tribe and the other major powers that were related to him was that the Battle Saint tribe truly belonged to him and would listen to his orders. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. Can I break through to the second world? You should be able to. Qi Donglu replied. In that case, I'll be going then. Qin Wentian spoke. Saint Lord, are you not going to stay for a few days? Qi Donglu asked. It's fine, I'm only here to see you guys. Qin Wentian shook his head. Might as well. In that case, I'll respectfully send Saint Lord off. Qi Donglu bowed. After that, Qin Wentian soared up into the air. The creation of the three worlds was similar to a particle world. As long as one's strength reached a certain level, they would be able to break through the barriers. The second realm of heaven was also a complete spatial world. Back then when the first generation Saint Lord created the three worlds, it formed a complete world. The people of this world were the same as the people of the particle world. They didn't know that the world they were in was created by someone else. Other than the people from the Battle Saint tribe, everyone else thought that this was the entire world. Qin Wentian didn't dig his way out from the ground. After breaking through the spatial barrier, he appeared in the air above the second world, amidst the clouds. Back then when Qin Wentian exited the particle world, he didn't dig his way out from the immortal realms. Hence, Qin Wentian didn't find this strange at all. His silhouette flashed as he descended. His immortal sense gushed out, instantly enveloping this vast space. In the second world, the Xiantian sect was an extremely powerful power, and was the hegemon of this region. The old ancestor of the Xiantian sect was a legendary immortal king who had inconceivable innate techniques. The hegemon of the Xiantian sect was majestic. However, at this moment, a young man walked over, directly heading towards the main peak of the Xiantian sect. After that, the silhouettes of many young disciples flickered as they exuded coldness. Sir, please wait a moment. Qin Wentian didn't look at them. His speed increased as he vanished like a bolt of lightning. The gazes of those people froze as their bodies stiffened. What a terrifying speed. Where is he going? The back mountain of the main peak. That is the cultivation ground of the old ancestor. These disciples all felt shock in their hearts. How would Qin Wentian care about their thoughts? He directly came before an old man who was cultivating in a cave dwelling. That old man opened his eyes and stared at the immortal king before him. Dao friend, what is your purpose for coming here? Which power is the hegemon of this world? How strong are they? Qin Wentian asked. An immortal king should know about this, right? The old man frowned. What did this man mean? This world? Could it be that he wasn't someone from this world? The Battle Saint Palace is the ruler of this world. They are extremely powerful. I don't dare to make a judgment. The old man replied. Where is the location? Transmit the location to me using your immortal sense. Qin Wentian. The old man furrowed his brows as he coldly spoke. Sir, your words are a little too tyrannical. Qin Wentian didn't even have the slightest bit of respect in his eyes. Rumble. A fearsome might erupted from Qin Wentian as he spoke. Transmit the location to me using your immortal sense. The old man had an unsightly expression on his face. But when he sensed this aura, he condensed a strand of immortal sense and transmitted it to Qin Wentian. After obtaining what he wanted, Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he directly departed. That old man felt his heart trembling. Where did this character come from? He was actually so powerful and so young. Today the entire Xiantian sect trembled. That earlier aura engulfed every part of the Xiantian sect, like the might of the apocalypse. This world wasn't so vast. After all, It was a newly created world called the Three Worlds. The Battle Saint Palace and the Battle Saint Tribe shouldn't be a problem. This transcendent power should be backed by experts from the Battle Saint Tribe. The Battle Saint Palace was far more majestic compared to the one the Battle Saint Tribe had in the First World. Qin Wentian's immortal sense swept out and instantly knew that there were as many experts as the clouds within. He stepped out and arrived at the entrance of the Battle Saint Palace. Lifting his foot, he walked up the stairs. The guards blocked Qin Wentian's path as their expressions turned sharp. I, Qin, am here to issue a challenge to the Battle Saint Palace. Qin Wentian spoke. His voice rumbled through the air, directly transmitting into the majestic Battle Saint Palace, causing the entire place to tremble. There was actually someone who dared to issue a challenge to the Battle Saint Palace? This was simply crazy. Within the Battle Saint Palace, countless experts moved about. An extremely tyrannical aura radiated from Qin Wentian as he ascended the stairs. When the guards sensed his aura, they didn't dare to obstruct him. Moving up the stairs, Qin Wentian arrived at the entrance of the Battle Saint Palace in the blink of an eye. He was here to issue a challenge. Who are you? You actually dare to challenge the Battle Saint Palace? A young man crossed his arms in front of his chest as he stared at Qin Wentian with arrogance in his eyes. I've broken through to the Immortal King realm for several years, and the person I'm challenging is an initial stage Immortal King, not an Immortal Foundation expert. Qin Wentian calmly glanced at that young man. His expression was even more arrogant compared to this young man. The Immortal King realm was different from the previous realms. Immortal Kings and Immortal Emperors were both considered kings. However, in order to differentiate them, the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms had a more detailed division of Immortal Kings and Emperors. Immortal Kings were divided into Initial Stage, Mid-Stage, and Peak Stage. Immortal Emperors were also divided into Initial Stage, Mid-Stage, and Peak Stage. For every stage, the depth of one's cultivation base was further divided into Early Stage and Late Stage. Qin Wentian had just broken through to the Immortal King realm not long ago, and was considered an Initial Stage Immortal King. However, after he broke through, his cultivation base stabilized and he could directly fight against late-stage Initial Stage Immortal Kings. The expression of that young man changed, feeling humiliated. A beautiful woman beside him also coldly spoke. Even if you have broken through to the Immortal King realm, you still don't have the qualifications to behave atrociously here. I'm not here to behave atrociously. I'm here to issue a challenge. Do the people of the Battle Saint Palace dare to accept my challenge? Qin Wentian spoke in a loud voice. He was prepared to use this battle to see the strength of the experts from the Battle Saint Tribe. At the same time, he wanted to display some of his strength for them to see. This way, the people from the Battle Saint Tribe would be more willing to follow him. Chapter 1367. The Three Worlds were opened because of the Battle Saint Tribe. The Battle Saint Tribe was the absolute hegemon of the Three Worlds. However, the number of people in the Battle Saint Tribe who had awakened their sacred bone wasn't too many. It was clearly insufficient to just rely on the members of the Battle Saint Tribe to rule the Three Worlds. The Battle Saint Tribe had long taken root in the Three Worlds, and the Battle Saint Palace in the Second World was the Battle Saint Palace. Naturally, the true core members were those who had awakened their sacred bone. Only they knew the mission they shouldered and knew the truth of the world. The man who just arrived, although he was an expert from the Battle Saint Palace, he wasn't a core member of the Battle Saint Tribe who had truly awakened his sacred bone. However, he was still a descendant of the Battle Saint Tribe. Hence, he had an innate pride, the pride of being the absolute hegemon of the Battle Saint Tribe. There has never been anyone who dared to step into the Battle Saint Palace to challenge us. You are truly courting death. That beautiful woman coldly spoke. So what if Qin Wentian was an initial stage immortal king? As the hegemon of the Battle Saint Palace, any random immortal king from the Battle Saint Palace would be able to kill him. And as expected, an immortal king expert soon arrived. This man was an immortal king from the Battle Saint Palace, but he wasn't someone from the Battle Saint Tribe. Instead, he was someone nurtured by the Battle Saint Palace. Since he could become an immortal king, He was definitely a major character in the second world. He stared at Qin Wentian. You came here to challenge us because you want to attract the attention of my Battle Saint Palace. If you can defeat me, there might be someone willing to meet you. So this is the case. You actually use such a method to attract attention. Let's see how capable you are then. That young man from before coldly laughed. This young man and the beautiful woman beside him were from the direct line of descent of the Battle Saint Palace, and had the blood of the Battle Saint tribe flowing in their veins. However, they had yet to awaken their sacred bone. They could only sigh in admiration. Indeed, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. They could guess the purpose of this man with a single glance. Their Battle Saint Palace was the hegemon of this world. The entire world had to submit to them. Indeed, other than this reason, they couldn't think of any other reason for Qin Wentian to challenge them. Qin Wentian declined to comment as he smiled. Please. As he spoke, he soared up into the air. The immortal king from the Battle Saint Palace did the same, and the two of them hovered in the air. Tyrannical law energy flowed. The immortal king of the Battle Saint Palace lifted his palm and blasted it towards Qin Wentian. In just an instant, a dazzling golden palm imprint blotted out the sky, akin to the palm of a fiend god, capable of crushing everything. The experts of the Battle Saint Palace below inclined their heads as smiles could be seen on their faces. Above Qin Wentian's body of laws flowed with a terrifying luster. Looking at the incoming golden palm imprint, he waved his hand, causing the heavens and earth to tremble violently. In the vast space around him, terrifying runic laws converged, transforming into numerous devilish blades of destruction that slashed out. In an instant, the golden palm imprint was destroyed, but the devilish blades of destruction continued forward, slashing towards the experts from the Battle Sage Palace. The immortal king from the Battle Saint Palace unleashed his own law domain. A moment later, all sorts of tyrannical law energy surrounded him. However, when he sensed this, Qin Wentian couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. This should only be an ordinary immortal king. There shouldn't be anything extraordinary about him. His silhouette flashed, his movement technique was quick to the extreme. Boundless destructive energy congregated together, transforming into a gigantic devilish saber of destruction. Qin Wentian directly appeared before the devil saber. With a clench of his hand, the devil saber slashed down with the wind, breaking apart the law domain, wanting to destroy everything. Puchi. The saber light descended. That immortal king from the Battle Saint Palace only felt his entire body trembling as he perspired profusely. When that saber slashed down, he could already feel death looming over him. However, the devil's saber merely slashed past him, not killing him. Such a battle caused him to feel a sense of defeat. They were both at the immortal king realm, but why was the disparity between them so great? Inclining his head, he saw Qin Wentian staring at him. That immortal king then asked, "Did you really just break through to the immortal king realm a few years ago?" "No matter what, I'm still an immortal king expert. How can I fabricate lies to boost my own strength?" "Your strength isn't enough. If the Battle Saint Palace only has this much strength, it would truly be disappointing." Qin Wentian's voice was calm, drifting downwards as numerous figures soared up into the air. Among them, there were several immortal kings. Qin Wentian's eyes were like lightning, able to see through everything. He then spoke to those immortal kings. "Immortal kings can come at me together. I don't mind." The immortal kings turned ashen, feeling humiliated. They soared up into the air and stared at Qin Wentian. One of them spoke, "Don't be too arrogant." Qin Wentian smiled and shook his head. Abruptly, a terrifying aura gushed forth as he unleashed his law domain. Laws of destruction, devil, demon. Everything was violent to the extreme. Within the law domain, there seemed to be a miraculous change. Some of the laws actually intertwined together, transforming into terrifying greater demons of destruction that stared down at everyone with disdain. The expressions of the immortal kings all changed. They also doubted Qin Wentian's words. Was this really something that an immortal king who had only broken through to the immortal king realm a few years ago could accomplish? There's no need to be polite. Qin Wentian smiled. The immortal kings exchanged glances before nodding their heads lightly. When Qin Wentian released his aura, and when they saw his law domain, they already felt that they had to join forces. Bzz, a raging wind gusted as Qin Wentian vanished from his location. He was like a bolt of lightning, so fast that it was inconceivable. Movement technique. The expressions of everyone changed. This was an extremely powerful movement technique. They saw numerous afterimages of Qin Wentian, transforming into a divine rock. The afterimages elongated, and very swiftly, the entire law domain was filled with afterimages. Boom! Numerous demonic rocks manifested, exuding a violent demonic qi as they shot towards the immortal kings. Qin Wentian used his movement technique to blend in with the attacking great rocks, making it hard for the immortal kings to catch a glimpse of him. Careful! Their immortal senses locked onto the movements of Qin Wentian, and at the same time, they launched attacks to defend against the attacks of the demonic beasts. Why do I feel so drowsy, like I'm dreaming? A thought appeared in the hearts of some people. Their minds were in a state of chaos, and they couldn't differentiate between the afterimages of Qin Wentian and the attacking great rocks. It's a dream. He comprehended the power of dreams and merged it into this complex law domain. The countenances of the immortal kings all changed. If this continued on, Qin Wentian would already be in an invincible position. Boom! A terrifying aura abruptly erupted forth. One of the immortal kings retreated with explosive speed. Qin Wentian's figure directly appeared before him as a violent destructive might blasted out, causing the immortal king's body to tremble violently. However, Qin Wentian stood there unmoving, smiling at them. The immortal kings exchanged glances, their expressions extremely unsightly. So many immortal kings were defeated without even fighting. We are ashamed of our inferiority. One of them spoke. The law domain dissipated. The words of these immortal kings shocked the juniors of the Battle Saint Palace. The strength of this newcomer was actually so powerful. Let me try. At this moment, a young immortal king slowly walked over. After that, the eyes of the immortal kings below gleamed with sharpness. Those immortal kings also retreated, giving up the battlefield as they stared at the young man with respect in their eyes. Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with a golden light. After that, a smile appeared on his face. The main character has finally appeared. Let's go up a little more. The young man spoke as he soared up into the air. Qin Wentian nodded and also flew up. The more powerful a battle was, the more terrifying the shockwaves would be. Make your move. The young man stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke, his tone filled with immense confidence. Please. Qin Wentian smiled and released his law domain. After that, the young man also released his own. With their bodies as the center, a terrifying might gushed forth, corroding the opponent's law domain. As expected of someone from the Battle Saint tribe. Qin Wentian stared at his opponent's law domain. Golden holy light enveloped the area, exuding boundless might. Numerous divine apes could be seen flickering in and out of existence. This law domain was clearly very mature. Qin Wentian stretched out his hand as a terrifying destructive devil saber appeared. After that, he grabbed it in his palm as law energy flowed through his entire body, infusing it into the devil saber. At the same time, the energy of the entire law domain gushed towards the devil saber. In an instant, a destructive devil might shook the heavens and earth. That devil saber was like a world-destroying saber. A smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face as he stepped out and slashed down with his saber. The sky trembled violently as a beam of destructive light arced through the air. That young man had a heavy expression on his face. With a loud roar, the divine apes in his law domain howled in unison. Golden light filled the sky as a gigantic divine ape cleaved out with both its palms, slamming into the destructive saber light. A thunderous boom rang out as both the saber and the palm imprints shattered. However, a second saber of destruction actually manifested as an even more terrifying might gushed forth, shooting towards the second saber. Slash. Qin Wentian spat out a single word as an even more powerful saber light slashed down. That young man had a look of shock on his face. He stepped in the air as a brilliant light radiated from his body. With a howl of rage, the divine ape soared up into the air as a boundless might erupted forth, transforming into a gigantic palm imprint of destruction that slammed towards the second saber. Another terrifying collision occurred. However, a third saber manifested in the air. This one was even more powerful. It was like the saber intents of the previous two sabers had been infused into it as well, wanting to split the heavens and earth apart. Qin Wentian's domain energy frenziedly gushed towards the third saber. As the saber descended, the gigantic shadow divine ape manifested behind the young man. The bones in its body radiated an overwhelming battle might as it punched out. This time around, it wasn't only aiming for the saber, it was aiming for Qin Wentian as well. Clearly, it knew that if the saber was destroyed, the saber wouldn't be destroyed. Qin Wentian pressed out with his palm. A moment later, tyrannical devil might converged into a bolt of destructive lightning, akin to the light of judgment, slashing out, shattering all the incoming fists. As the third saber slashed down, an azure roar shook the heavens, shattering the saber once again. However, the third saber appeared. The young man had a look of despair on his face. Although he wanted to fight, he felt that he couldn't win. Retreat. A voice drifted over from afar. The young man nodded and retracted his aura, clearly admitting his defeat. In the initial stage of the Immortal King realm, there won't be anyone here who can win against you. That voice rang out again. This time around, it was directed at Qin Wentian. The hearts of everyone trembled as they stared at Qin Wentian with shock. Try fighting against mid-stage Immortal Kings over there. Qin Wentian spoke. The people of the Battle Saint Palace were all shocked. Who was this young man? He actually came to the Battle Saint Palace and displayed such shocking strength. You're tuning into the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.